Staples has hundreds of great ways to boost your brand, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through April 18th and save up to $125 on all your custom prints. Staples, that was easy.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. John Schaefer.
When you think about the city of San Diego, some of the worst ownership groups with the Clippers situation, with the Chargers situation, even the Padres ownership history hasn't always been smooth sailing.
San Diego's own Alan Sliwa.
I felt like we went through a stage of baseball where everything was so predetermined. Why even have a manager? What's the point of having a manager?
Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Schaefer and Sliwa. A lot to react to. Plus, Will Fleming, radio voice of the Red Sox, will join us on his way out of Fenway Park in about 3 or 4 minutes. And then Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, at 5 p.m. I think the saying, Alan, is Mama said there'd be days like this. She just didn't say there'd be this many.
Yeah.
Padres are now 2-5 to start the year. And it's kind of gone from bad to worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts and ends basically with this anemic offense that we'll talk about throughout the course of the day. But 2 runs, no hits after their second run, which is a double from Luis Campisano. The top of the order does absolutely nothing, and the Padres start a road trip, a lot like they played in their homestand here in San Diego this past week.
If you're a team in Major League Baseball and you're on a losing streak and you're looking to change the tide a little bit, take a look at when you got the Padres on your schedule, because
Giants, Red Sox, good point.
They've done it a little bit so far. Yeah, you know, what's a lot of conversation that we've had on the Padres so far today, obviously a morning/day game, an afternoon game, was exactly how the season has played out so far. You can't manufacture runs. Your big bats are doing nothing, literally nothing, and we'll get into the details of what that's looked so far during the season. I don't think it was a controversial decision by Craig Stamon to take Michael King out.
Just backfired.
It just backfired. Right. Yeah. Wandy Peralta was in for 1.7 seconds and already gave up a 2-run homer.
Yeah.
San Diego native, by the way, gave it up to. But I think
that's interesting. That's right.
I think there's a little bit of this, whatever you've thought of the Padres so far this season, this game is like the perfect blueprint of how they lose. It's the perfect blueprint. They can't score runs. I think in their 2 wins that they have so far this year, they got 1 game where they score 3, 1 game they score 7. Those are the only 2 games that they've won.
Yeah.
The rest of the games they're scoring 2 runs or less. So I guess 3 runs is the new barometer for the San Diego Padres, in this unbelievable bullpen that you have is kind of a waste of a bullpen because you're not using them.
We're going to catch up with Will Fleming in a moment. By the way, the breaking news related to Luka Doncic is he is out indefinitely per Shams and will not play again this regular season. His status is uncertain beyond that. So we will get into that, but it's gone to bad, from bad to worse for the Lakers as well, coming off that loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we'll connect with Will Fleming coming up. But yeah, from a Padres perspective, it's like coming off an off day, coming off a 2-4 homestand. It was so easy for me to sit here, me and you. A couple of days ago, we said, hey, Giants are going to be motivated. You better be ready. And they lost 2 out of 3.
Yep.
We said the same thing yesterday. Better be ready for a team that's lost 5 straight. Like this has
desperate.
This is circle this. Obviously, Boston's going to be motivated for this. You need to match that. Padres did nothing in this game. I mean, literally nothing. If not for a sunball in that 2-run inning, they may not have scored. All right, we've got Will Fleming with us right now, friend of mine, and friend of, I'm going to say you're a friend of the station, Will. Will Fleming, radio voice of the Boston Red Sox, with us right now. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're just talking about it from a Padre perspective, obviously, where you're just looking for anything to go right now. What was it like today for Boston? I mean, 5 consecutive losses, getting home, basically needing a win. That's crazy to say 6 games into the season. But this obviously had to be, as early as it is, this was kind of like got to play well at home, right? And that's what the Red Sox were able to do here today.
First of all, where the hell is Jim? You told me I was going on with Jim, and now I come on and there's some new dude.
Oh, wait, I didn't tell you.
It's the ultimate dupe job.
Are you serious?
I don't know the new dude either, but we'll keep you posted. I'm not sure who he is.
That's Alan Sliwa.
He's not very good.
This is
Hi,
Will
Alan.
Fleming.
What's up?
Will, very nice to meet you, brother. Very nice to meet you.
By the way, we had your brother on earlier this week.
Oh, God. So you get the worst of the two finally, right?
No, that's not true. That's not true.
We'd like to do actually a whole family. We like to get the whole family on if possible.
Can we get your kids on potentially?
We can do it. They'll be at Fenway tomorrow. It's but great to be with you, John. I always love coming on, and nice to meet you, Alan.
Nice to meet you as well.
To answer your question 100%, I mean, the Red Sox needed this in the worst possible way. And what's crazy is baseball's the stupidest, best, most fun, weird, random game of all, which is why I'm so delighted to be a part of it. Early in these years, in these seasons, you can get so up or so down, and it means so very little. And it's amazing what one game, one series, 1 week can do to your mood. I don't know if either of you have ever been to Fenway Park and whether you've been there on opening day, but it is, I mean, we go to all these places, and I know Petco rightly gets voted the best ballpark in America, and there's so many things about it that are marvelous and wonderful, and every one of your fans is lucky to go there, and everybody who plays there is delighted to be there. Fenway is the best place, full stop, end of story. Like, there just aren't better places. And when you layer on an opening day, when we're honoring, legends past, and you're lining the baselines and the big flag is up on the monster, I think the Red Sox players really fed off that juice. And, you have to remember that they last year had one memorable moment after another in that park. And I think a lot of the players, old and new, sort of fed off the energy and got a much needed win on a day, like you said just now, John. I mean, the Padres had very little going were it not for the sunshine in midday. But the Red Sox desperately needed that one big time.
Will Fleming, who does play-by-play broadcaster for ESPN, the Boston Red Sox, and also on WEEI, joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa Show. It's funny because you're right about the overreaction. I can only imagine what it was like in Boston over this first week and sports talk radio, all that stuff. I can only imagine what that was. We're sitting here and it's been really bad baseball in San Diego. It just hasn't looked good. And Padres obviously already had their homestand. Lose 2-3 to Detroit, lose 2-3 to the San Francisco Giants, who, by the way, walked in here also 0-3 and had one run over 3 games against the Yankees. They had a game, their final game against the Giants, Mason Miller had a 4-out save. And it was funny because we were sitting here overreacting and we're talking to ourselves like, yes, it's early. Yes, the world's not going to end if they get off to a bad start. I guess it just depends on how much talent that you have. But Craig Stamon made a decision that, I'm going to go 4 outs on Mason Miller. Are games like that even in Boston? Like, I know you said don't overreact because it's so early, but do you feel a sense of urgency when your squad is off? I mean, you guys are in one of the tougher divisions in all of baseball. Is there a sense of urgency? You just don't want to dig yourself such a hole.
Well, Alan, I think you made the last point. You went very long there. There's a lot to unpack there. That's a little bit of a long question for a guy from Boston.
I almost did like a whole segment. Yeah.
But I would just tell you that the last point you made is the right one, which is the Red Sox and the Padres both face the same problem. That is, both divisions are great. And, the behemoth that is the Dodgers is its own thing, right? But, I mean, the Red Sox are in a division with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the ascendant Orioles, and the always annoying Tampa Bay Rays. And so you're right that it's early, but you don't – I mean, the Red Sox came into their home opener 4 games behind the New York Yankees, who won again today. And so I think that puts a little extra pressure on it. I'm fascinated by everything that's going on in San Diego. And, I know Craig Stamon. He was a wonderful guy and pitcher with the Nats. And AJ is never afraid to take chances and wheel and deal and take a chance on a new manager, which he did. I would offer that it's a little early to be doing stuff like that with your most important bullpen arm. I know you want to get a win, but I would, especially after the WBC, I think that's a little premature to start pushing the envelope with a guy who is so important to everything you do. I think the Padres are one of the really fascinating teams in the game because of what AJ has done and what he's built. And they, especially with the lockout potentially looming, like the amount of money that they have on the books, all of these $300 million contracts, I understand why AJ pushes his chips in and why he takes risks and why he's willing to trade everybody. Because, unlike Boston, the fans here are furious because the Red Sox haven't won a title in 8 years, but they won 4 in the previous 15. It's a different thing in San Diego where you're just dying to get there and to win one,
100%.
and they went all in. And I think that the risk, of course, is that you have aging players on massive contracts. Most of the time, those do not age or end well. So I think the pressure is totally different and ratcheted up where you guys live.
Will Fleming, radio broadcaster for the Boston Red Sox, with us right now. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. You go back, I'm trying to remember, Craig Stamon was a player when was he a player in Potomac in like 2000 whatever?
He was. Isn't that crazy? When you and I were in like a trailer that was latched to chain link fences in Lynchburg and Potomac,
insane.
and you were in Lehigh Valley I mean, like, isn't that amazing? We're all way too old. We know everybody in the game because we're becoming the people who are just like the geriatrics. In
100%.
Sport.
Here's my question for you, because you, as a first-time manager, I mean, look at what's playing out with the Giants. Tony Vitello, first-time manager. Yep. And now he didn't hire himself. Like AJ Preller hires Craig Stamon. Obviously, the Giants do what they do with the Tennessee head coach that's turned now a major league manager. But you're kind of asking for the additional scrutiny, aren't you? Like when you start, nobody likes starting 2-5 regardless. But when you start 2-5 with a first-time manager, it just feels like these clubs are really open to scrutiny right now. And there's been a ton of scrutiny on Craig Stamon, but it's kind of unfair, isn't it? I mean, it's only been 1 week. I mean, you go 5-2 or 2-5. It doesn't make a career.
It is, but I mean, no doubt. And I think both Buster and AJ certainly are self-confident enough to not give a rat's ass about whether there's scrutiny in the first week or month or even season, right? Like, now they do put their own, seasons, and not in AJ's case, but certainly Buster in terms of like first real time as an executive, like your sort of credibility as someone who can identify talent and hire. But I mean, again, those guys have such track records. And by the way, I think it's worth saying that like it's just as risky in my mind, if not as boring and uninspired, to just say, well, let's go pick these other dudes who've managed for 15 years in the big leagues and write the safe press release and bring in insert name. And some of them have managed there in the recent past. I mean, like, that's just the God's honest truth is, and not to pick on somebody like Bob Melvin, but like, that's such an easy hire to make. Everybody's going to say, of course, he's seasoned and he's great and he'll be the right guy for this. I actually sort of applaud the guys in those big chairs, in those big roles who take swings and try to, catch lightning in a bottle. But there's no question, John, that you definitely invite a little more risk and scrutiny, and it's just way too early to tell how either of those situations will shake out.
Well, just a big picture question here. You mentioned AJ Preller. What is the perception of AJ Preller, you think, across the league? How do you think people view AJ Preller? And like you mentioned, he's definitely a gambler. He's taking chances. Padres are in a need to win right now because of aging superstars. What do you think the perception is of Preller?
Well, if you need a pickup basketball game, he's the guy to call, and he's going to find you a court, and you're going to be able to rock and roll. I think AJ is really well liked in the sport, and I think every situation, every organization is different. I do not run a big league baseball team. I only talk about them, and thank God, probably for the fans of everybody in the world, that I don't have that power and that ability. I think the impression of AJ is that he's willing to do anything, right? And that he's not even risk tolerant. He almost invites it. And I think I think baseball seasons go through these periods. They are the off season, they're the first half, then there's the All-Star break. And I think in the off season and at the All-Star break, a lot of fans around baseball envy San Diego for having somebody like AJ, who's willing to go the extra mile to sign free agents, who's willing to ship out anybody that is not bolted down to go get proven talent. And I think there's a little Dave Dombrowski in him in that way where, the odds say that most of your prospects don't pan out. Let's ship them out and come bring proven ability back. Now, obviously, when you do that, you run the risk of big misses. And is it possible is it certain now that the decision to bring Juan Soto in, which we understand, you think you're going to win the World Series, and then you lose him and you trade everything away to the Washington Nationals and some of their core players? could have been foundational pieces for the Padres. Therein lies the risk of being a guy who's just willing to deal everybody. So I think fans want action. Fans want headline moves. And I am, by the way, for the record, I find myself oftentimes thinking that the modern GM, like the more analytically driven guy, is too hesitant and too reluctant. And everybody has the same numbers and information and they won't make deals. I find it really refreshing that AJ does what he does. And I think there's probably like a marginal competitive edge to be willing to have more courage to go the extra mile and trade guys. And I think that there is space for that. And of course, again, back to the beginning, the problem is when you do that, which I love and your fan base should love, you need to win it all.
Yep.
And I know they've been so close, and some of those Dodgers series have been agonizing. And I think it's sort of like so many times in sports history, like the Washington Capitals couldn't beat the Pittsburgh Penguins for 100 years. They beat them, and guess what happens? The rest of it, they just walked to the championship. I think that the Padres sort of slayed the dragon one of those times, and they were every bit as good in a couple of those seasons. They would have won a World Series, but they didn't. And so that it just adds this layer of pressure and stress to the fan base and the players and everybody there. But I think AJ is very well liked in the sport, and he does the best that he can to try to get this franchise a title.
Will, love the perspective. Appreciate you doing it. If you didn't mention Marcelo Meyer being from San Diego in your home run call, shame on you if you had that call today.
Chula Vista, I want to hear from you.
I love it. Will, appreciate it, dude.
Thank you, Will.
Thanks, Shape. Nice to meet you, Alan.
Nice
See you
to
guys.
meet you too.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you.
Will Fleming, radio voice of the Boston Red Sox. We go way back. We'll react to that. We'll take your calls. We'll hear from Craig Stamon, Schaefer, and Sliwa. Don't go anywhere. San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We've got the Final Four on San Diego Sports 760 with coverage beginning at noon tomorrow. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. I wish.
I'm just going to keep saying, let's go Aztecs.
3 years ago, we were there.
Yeah, we were.
3 years ago.
Yep.
Final Four in Houston. All right.
A little pep talk with Lamont Butler right before that final shot.
Is that why he hit the shot?
I looked at Lamont. He was on the other side. I said, Lamont,
do this for me.
And he was looking. He actually was completely turned around.
You're like, I went to San Diego State. Make this shot, man. All right.
That's my dialogue with him. That's it. I went to State. He's like, well,
so did I.
Go take a seat, bro.
So did I.
Go take a seat.
All right. So we just had Will Fleming, radio voice of the Red Sox, on. Kevin Acee is our Padres Insider. He'll join us from Boston coming up at 5. I want to hear from Craig Stamon. Now, he only spoke for we used to joke last year, how long would Mike Schultz speak with the media? And sometimes it would be 14 and a half minutes. Yeah, I don't think Craig Stamon's going to necessarily be that guy. This is less than...
You know what the equivalent is?
What's that?
Schultz was like a long form podcast.
Yes. This guy's a short.
He's like a... You just scroll.
YouTube.
You just keep going. The YouTube shorts.
All right, so here was Craig Stamon postgame. Padres lose to the Red Sox 5-2 at Fenway in their home opener, the Red Sox home opener. And this starts with Craig Stamon commenting on the starter today, Michael King.
Yeah, he pitched pretty good today. Felt like the end of the fifth, couple hard hit balls, sixth inning, hard hit balls. Then we felt like we had a matchup that was better in our favor with Wandy against him. Ended up not being that. Case in baseball, but overall pitched really well.
Steve Fernando had that one.
I actually thought he did catch it for a second, but we're pretty far away. I don't know. I didn't look at the replay, so I don't know how close or how far it was.
We talked a little bit before the game about the offense and kind of some of the hard hit balls. What do you make of have you seen any pressing out of this group to kind of get to where I think they know or feel like they should be at this point?
Yeah, I'm sure that's natural for every hitter to hit line drives and then not get a hit and then look at your average on the scoreboard and then want to press a little bit and I got to make sure I get a hit here. But, we got to keep preaching to them that, they're swinging well, they're hitting the ball hard, and that eventually they're going to fall.
Speak of Gray, another guy who made it into the sixth against you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. He pitched good. He's a veteran pitcher. It's not like he hadn't done that before. He got us today. I thought we got to him a little bit there in the fifth. Took advantage of the sun ball. Gavin had a nice at bat, driving him in. And then Campy had a great at bat. It was good to see Campy make a really good swing there, hit one hard and off the wall. So felt like we had him close, and then we just let him get through the sixth there.
You mentioned it, but you knew it would come. He was going to get a hit at some point. But how nice was that to see for him and for you guys, for Campy?
Yeah, it's great. One of those guys you talk about pressing maybe a little bit. He hadn't got a hit since 2024, I think. So it was good to see what we know he can do. And, hit a ball like that against any pitcher. He did a great job.
Your view on the Cronenworth double play?
Yeah, that was amazing. What a play. That inning was getting a little to the point where, they were hit the ball, they were on base, hit the ball hard again, and we made a great play and got out of it. When you're thinking that ball gets through, it's first and second or first and third and one out. So, just at the time, maybe a game-saving play. But Jake's been doing that a lot this year. It's pretty fun to see him at second base doing that.
Go back to the offense a little bit. Aside from kind of sticking with the approach and maybe not getting outside yourself, what are some of the other things that you think this group can do to get to the level that they could or should be at?
Yeah, I think one is just trust themselves, trust what they've done in the past, and who they are as people and who they are as hitters, and I got complete confidence that they're going to be just fine.
All right, so that's Craig Stamon postgame, Alan. I will say this. I said this yesterday. Tell me if you think this is unfair.
Okay.
Man, I listen to Craig Stamon speak, and maybe he should if he's speaking with the team pregame, maybe that's an issue because he's putting me to sleep. He is
Cup
not.
Of coffee?
Honestly,
get in here.
He's making me want. I'm drinking a Celsius, and I'm not even supposed to. But
can you put some of your Celsius inside of my coffee?
Do you agree though? He doesn't scream inspiring.
Yeah.
To listen to.
Yeah, I listen. I don't need him to. I get it. He's not going to have his best speech in the postgame.
Right.
He's not going to see everybody, all the reporters hanging around and say, "I'm giving you my best today."
Right.
But there is. I think for him, if I'm being honest, he sounds like somebody that is so new to his job. Take anybody. I mean, Maybe I'm too comfortable. Maybe I'm not a good example. But take anybody who's starting a new job and you're like walking into work and you don't really know everybody yet and the personalities, and you might crack a joke and nobody understood your joke. So next time around, you're like, you know what? I'm probably not going to throw that joke there. Nobody knows you. Is there a little of that? Is there a little bit of that with him? Is he a little careful how he addresses the media? Is he a little careful of how he talks to? I mean, we used this as an example yesterday. He had one quote that you and I talked about when he was making the lineup card a couple of days ago.
That's right.
And you got a former player in Heath Bell that's like, yeah, that doesn't sound like very confident to me. Let's just say that got back to him. It could be one of those things of like, hey, even me trying to crack a joke or give credit to someone else, somebody's going to take it a certain way. He's learning on the fly. He's learning on the job. Yes, let's just say, I don't know if I'm running through a brick wall right now after listening to that postgame show.
Thoughts on Craig Stamon or the Padres a weekend? We'd love to hear from you. Phone lines are open. 877-767-4760. 877-767-4760. If you're looking to vent,
pick up the phone. What are you guys doing?
If you're looking to vent, pick up the phone. 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start it with the word team. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. Giveaways throughout the course of the show. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The Padres lost to the Red Sox today at Fenway Park, 5-2. Michael King took the loss. Game 2 is tomorrow afternoon. First pitch is set for 1:10. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Connolly early. In NBA news, Shams is reporting that Luka is out for the final 5 games of the Lakers regular season with a grade 2 hamstring tear. And in college basketball news, Duke freshman Cameron Boozer was named AP Player of the Year. He took 59 of the 61 votes. He joined Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the AP award. And each of those players went either number 1 or number 2 in their respective drafts that year. And despite all the North Carolina rumors, Coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to stay in Arizona. Per ESPN sources, he will be one of the 5 highest paid coaches in college basketball. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
All right. People want to weigh in.
I don't even know what to do with our conversation off the air.
Either do I. We'll talk about it. There's a lot to get into, by the way. Padres lose the home opener in Boston to the Red Sox 5-2. Luka is out indefinitely for the Lakers. And there's also been an executive order issued today that could change college athletics for forever or not, that we'll get into over the next couple of hours, plus giveaways. Charlie Puth tickets. We've got a family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. But let's go to the phones. If you want to weigh in, phone lines are open. Padres are 2-5. They lose today 5-2. 877-767-4760. Let's start with David on line 1. David, you're on with Schaefer and Sleewa. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Love everything you do, John. Alan, welcome to the show. Just have to talk about the game today and just what I see the first 7 games. Like, this is unbelievable. The Giants scored 1 run against the Yankees first series. They come in here and win 2 out of 3. The Red Sox win opening day with Crochet, lose 5 straight, and of course we make them look good today. I know it was their home opener at Fenway and all that, but it's so frustrating. The vibe seems completely off. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I will say, though, maybe the whole Sale thing is hanging over them. I mean, we did spend the last 2 years the Chargers were here saying the LA thing was an off-field distraction. So maybe we have to say that with ownership, too. I don't know. Something feels off, and they got to fix it quick because normally I'm a guy like 7 games out of 162. You know, every team's going to have a 7-game stretch where they look awful like this at some point. You'll notice it more at the beginning of the season. That's all true, but something just feels off, man. Hopefully they can get it together, but I don't know, man.
Appreciate you, David.
By the way, his energy sounds so much better than the Padres' energy. Like you should be upset. I mean, if you're out driving around right now and you were excited to see this season start and you wanted to see, listen, there's always a question mark around the San Diego Padres, but they got a lot of talent.
That should be their tagline. Like, put that on the banners downtown. There's always a question mark around us.
They got
tickets, Padres.com.
They got so much talent. And it's like, everyone's asking themselves, can they have a season where they click? Like, no, there's no guarantee what's going to happen. We all kind of know this in baseball. You get to the postseason, anything can happen. But to start off the way they have, like the caller was just mentioning, it feels like something's off. There is no energy. Do you really want to be 4 or 5 games back in the division a couple of weeks in? Do you really, and forget the Dodgers for a second and forget the division, because I think everybody realistically just looks at the wild card at this point, and that's probably going to be the Padres' path for years to come. But what was that homestand?
I mean, to David's point, like David's like, hey, listen, remember what played out the dark cloud over the Chargers in the last couple of years? And he's saying, hey, listen, this organization is a little bit in flux with the impending sale. But I don't think that has an effect. No, I don't think Ramon Laureano's in the box. Like, man, they better not sell it to Jose Feliciano. Like, listen, I like some Premier League soccer, but I don't like his franchise. I don't think the players typically. I
was so much more focused until I knew Tom Gores was involved.
Right. When I found out Dan Friedkin, like, I don't think they care. By and large, it's like when it's above your pay grade.
Can I ask you this?
Sure.
Let's just say hypothetically, maybe what the caller's referring to. Maybe AJ Preller's vibe is different because of what's going on in ownership. Maybe Craig Stamon's vibe is a little bit different because of what's going on behind the scenes. Can
Maybe
there
the
be a
roster's not
trickle?
complete.
Can there be a trickle down effect from that? Or I feel like we're stretching as I say it out loud.
I mean, listen, ownership may impact their roster. They may need more dollars to put a more competitive team on the field. But then again, they've committed over $200 million to this team. Unfortunately, they haven't committed that money perfectly. Even though we're only 7 games in, a lot of people would tell you some of this money is not tied up well. That's obvious. They've tied up a lot of money in a very few players, and the few players they've tied it up in, it hasn't gone swimmingly.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
The problem is, like, it's almost, if I tried to give a real estate example, it's like they bought at the
top of the market.
They bought the top of the market. And, you know, you can sit here every time you look at top payrolls in baseball. If you look at the San Diego Padres, I know everyone wants to say, oh, look, the Padres are spending. It's like, it's old money. It's money that's already in debt. It's money that most people are looking at those contracts and saying that's supposed to not be bad money for at least another 3 to 5 years. And we see, you know, what go up and down that lineup right now. Go see what 1 through 5 is. Go look at where the guys that are making the most money on this team. Go look at what they've done to start the season.
Yeah,
that's the thing that scares me the most about the San Diego Padres. We're having this conversation with, you know, your buddy, the Red Sox broadcaster.
Yeah.
And just a few minutes ago, when we were having the conversation about AJ Preller, and all I could think about, everything that he said, you should feel good and confident. Look what AJ Preller's doing. He's taking chances. I wish more franchises would do that. And then he stopped at, now I know you guys didn't win. Like, you kept going all in and you didn't win. The question now is, are you now on a trajectory that did you already peak?
Back down?
Did you already peak?
Yeah. Is it right? That's exactly right. Let's go back to the phones here. 877-767-4760. Jeff, appreciate your patience. You're on with Schaefer and Sliwa.
Hey, gentlemen, what's going on? Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
I'm a hardcore fan. I go to 78 games a year.
Wow.
We're 2-5. That's not going to deter me from being excited to go to games. But I think for me, the past week hasn't been a good form of baseball entertainment. Even the wins, maybe the 7-1 win, you're like, oh, okay, they piled on some runs, but both the losses and the wins, you're kind of like, this isn't fun baseball to watch. And I think that for me is kind of where I'm at. It's like, is it going to be like that all year? Probably not. But right now it's just kind of baseball.
Can I further your point, Jeff? And you can listen on air or off air. Today is an embarrassment offensively. You're not facing Scooble. You do nothing in 9 innings. The only thing they did was the result of a ball lost in the sun. If not for a ball lost in the sun, they score 0 runs. They had two parts of this game. They have 13 of 14 sent down. Like, I get it. It's one game, but it's magnified because you've only played 7 and you haven't played any of them well. That's kind of today was a failure for me.
Here are their losses. Red Sox lost. They score 2 runs. Right. Giants lost. They score 3. Giants lost. They score 2. Tigers lost. They score 2. Tigers lost. They score 2. I think what the caller is saying and what you're saying is the same thing. What you're saying is there is no the product is bad. You go to a restaurant, you know what you're hoping for. Not all of them are great. You know, however you go, kind of try to determine which restaurant to go to. Yeah, you're kind of hoping for, hey, I had a good time. There was the vibe was good. Mm-hmm. The food was phenomenal. You want to walk away with something. What have you walked away? You're kind of going in the same restaurant. And you're like, I've walked out of this restaurant so far this year. I've gone 7 times to that restaurant. Every time I walked out of the restaurant, I'm like, the food is bland. It doesn't,
it's not a good atmosphere.
The atmosphere,
it's
overpriced. And everybody keeps telling me, yeah, but just give it a second. Yeah. Come back another time. It's going to be better. Yes, 7 games. But in those 7 games, it's an awful restaurant.
It's the A restaurant in terms of like, it's like cleanly, but then you're getting the C experience. I mean, you're not getting sick, right? It's just not a good experience. I don't think it's I mean, every restaurant's an A restaurant. You know what I mean? Like in the window, it says
have you seen
A.
A C?
I think I've
seen B's.
them.
B's I've definitely seen.
Are you allowed to have a C and operate?
Good question.
Why could you even have a B and operate? Isn't the whole point like you're serving food to people? Shouldn't
probably
be an A?
You got to work on that. Let's just say you got to work on that.
All right, we are going to continue the conversation as the Padres lose the opener in Boston to the Red Sox. If you want to weigh in, our phone lines are open. 877-767-4760. We want to hear from Padre fans this afternoon. 877-767-4760. Plus, we'll give away tickets to Sesame Place and to a Charlie Puth concert at Viejas Arena coming up. And Kevin Acee will join us live at 5 p.m. Plus, the latest on Luka in the NBA with the Lakers. Stay with us on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee is going to join us live coming up at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa. Again, our phone lines are open, 877-767-4760, or you can text us, 70470. Start it with the word team. So you've got the Padres off to this 2-5 start.
Yeah.
I think we should touch on, there's a couple of interesting elements coming out of this Lakers Thunder game from last night. There were these big games, Clippers and Spurs. Wemby didn't even play. I didn't realize that. Prior to, like, was when we talked about it yesterday, I didn't realize he wasn't going to play. Spurs win handily over the Clippers. Lakers were what, 15-2 or 16-2 coming in?
15-2 in the month of March.
So you're like, well, this should be a game. We had talked about it earlier. We're like, okay, OKC's favored by 8-9 points, but you would think this could be a game. It was never a game, dude.
You want something absurd?
Yeah.
Lakers were 15-2 in the month of March. You know what the Oklahoma City Thunder were over a 15-game span?
I would say 15-0.
They were, I want to say 14-1.
Yeah, they've been red hot.
Lakers had a 9-game winning streak. Everyone was talking about them. Do you know what OKC, what their winning streak was in March?
9.
12.
And nobody was talking
Nobody's talking about them.
Yeah.
I think yesterday was one of those. You could apply this to any sport. Any sport. You can talk baseball, you can talk NFL, you can talk NBA. When the champs feel disrespected, when the champs feel like nobody's paying any attention, Lakers are they're a glamorous franchise. They're Hollywood. They've had the success, the stars, the this and that. A lot of times, national media, they want to talk about the Lakers. The Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday, I thought were trying to send a message. You've ever heard of, hey, nothing personal, this is business?
Yeah.
For the Thunder yesterday, it says nothing to do with business, this is personal. And I thought they were sending a message around the entire league, and especially, the Lakers were just happened to be on the schedule, and it happened to be that franchise, but the message, I don't even think was to the Lakers. I think the message was everywhere.
Well,
you want to talk about the best of the best? The best of the best is Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Lakers are nowhere near that class. That's what I thought the Thunder were doing yesterday.
Well, my wife, who's an OKC fan, got the message we were watching. My 7-year-old son my 7-year-old son, it was 16-4, and my wife forced him into a shower. It was like around 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, guess the score when you get out of the shower. And we were all off by it was like, we're like 30-20, 32-24. It was like 45-18. This thing was ugly quick. They were never in it. Then the insult to
46 maybe at one point.
It was ugly. Then the insult to injury, I would say, listen, if I was covering the Lakers full time, or if this was like a San Diego franchise, for example, and I see Luka, my star, on the floor in a 39-point game or whatever it was 6 minutes or 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and I go out, and then I find out today he's out indefinitely, could miss the playoffs. We don't know. He could miss the playoffs. And then I also realized that he's only played 64 games, which is below the threshold to qualify for all MVP.
It's a big topic right now.
All NBA and MVP. And now his agent's putting out a statement. It's the classic insult to injury game. It just is. Like, things are going well. And then I'll go back to the Padres last year. There was a moment in early August where they're a game up in the division. Oh, they have Michael King on the mound. Oh, everything's going perfectly. Oh, King's out due to injury. And then it's like sometimes everything's just too good to be true. And you need to be recentered. Doesn't happen as much with the Lakers. They've won a lot at a high level historically. But it just
I get this. I get the comp there. That's
it's like
definitely
everything was going so well until not only now is it like, well, that didn't go great. No, it's like, did that kind of end your season?
Season's done.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but here's what I think. Here's what I think. Sometimes we could be fooling ourselves. By the way, listen, there might be a Padre comp to this.
Please make it.
You could think you have a shot at something when you really probably don't have a shot. Like I think what last night said, if you were watching the NBA yesterday, there's probably 25 teams last night that said, yeah, we don't have a shot this year.
Right.
We don't have a shot this season.
Right.
And for the Lakers, the clarity was they went 15-2 in the month of March. Hey, you know what? Maybe they got a shot here. Maybe they can make some
definitely
noise. When you're down 46 in a game,
46.
and the Oklahoma City Thunder, if I'm being completely honest, they could have went up by 55 if they wanted. Like that's just the reality. I think there was some clarity yesterday to say, probably start looking at the offseason. So it's just a matter of time before it comes. And that's what I think that clarity was. When I say there could be a comp for the Padres, what I mean by that is, are they? I don't think they're there. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying that the Padres have no chance or anything like that. Right. But I think the likelihood of the San Diego Padres getting to a World Series, that number it's only going down. Okay. And this is, it might have peaked.
You're saying year over year, kind
year
of.
over year.
Yeah. Not because of today.
Nothing
kind of where they are
today.
as a franchise.
Big picture, right? The players that they have, the age that they're at.
Exactly.
Maybe it peaked
2024.
Maybe it peaked then. Right. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of this happen in sports where you got like some franchises that are close. You got some franchises that you feel like they got a real shot. And then you kind of look back a couple years later and you're like, yeah, I don't think they're going to have another opportunity. this iteration, just go back to what we said with the Lakers, this iteration of the Lakers, you're just not beating an Oklahoma City Thunder team who's young, who's got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has 11, 12 guys that they can go deep, that has arguably the best president of basketball operations in Sam Presti, who's cropping player after player and developing and farm system, all that stuff. Them and the Spurs are the class of, you almost have to just throw out the playbook and almost not start over because you got Luka, but you really got to rethink how you build from here.
And to your point, I don't know if the comp is like Thunder to the Lakers is Dodgers to the Padres. That's not exactly what I'm trying to make, but here's the thing. It's harder in basketball to win a 7-game series. Basketball doesn't change their starting pitcher. The basketball team is the team you're playing all 7 games. Like, it's not like, oh, we get Scooball in game 1, but we are going to murder everyone else in that rotation. That's not what basketball is. Shea plays all of the games. He's not sitting in game 2, right? Because of his arm. Because of
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And that's why, look at the history of the NBA, and correct me if I'm wrong. The higher seeded teams win at a ridiculous clip.
Yeah.
The history of baseball, the teams with more wins heading into a series are not winning it near the clip. 55% clip, 65% clip.
That's a
where in
positive
basketball,
thing.
it's 85%, 90% clip. So that's the one thing I would say. It's to your point. You've made it a lot this week. It's like, get into the postseason, things can happen.
In baseball.
Basketball,
that's not the case.
much harder. Now, Oklahoma City was pushed a little bit last year. They had a 7-game series with Denver. Did a 7-game series with Indiana.
But I will just say this with OKC, they also are super young and never won a championship before.
That's a good point. Now they've done that.
Let's just say you had a window to get them. Maybe that window was last year.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean other teams don't have shots. It just means the more experience they have, the harder it's going to be to take them out.
Right.
What's the pressure on the Thunder? The pressure on the Thunder at this point is we're just trying to stack back-to-back chips.
Yeah.
The pressure on, let's take a baseball analogy. Do you think there's more pressure on the Dodgers to win it this year, or was there more pressure on the Dodgers before they started this back-to-back?
Way more 2 years ago.
Of course it was.
I mean, I remember the pressure was so intense to the point you've made this point
one
this
game
week.
away from Dave Roberts getting fired.
Dave Roberts would have been gone. I mean, I've made the point that if the Padres do finish off the Dodgers in 2024, well, to your point, he probably would have been gone. And by them winning that series, he's supplanted himself as a Hall of Fame manager.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no world where
That's true.
he's not going to be a Hall of Fame manager, and I don't even think he'd be around if the Padres just won one more game in 2024.
The problem with baseball is the Dodgers just have no competitive advantages and they just don't spend money. So that's the real
They're
issue.
the little engine.
That's right. Yeah.
A lot like OKC.
They're almost
Small market.
they're like a small coffee shop competing with Starbucks,
Small market.
Yeah.
Likable figures
They're
everywhere.
so known for not spending money either. And I love how baseball just has such a balanced competition.
That's what I like about the CBA.
Right.
They've made it fair for everyone. Like Pittsburgh can win at the same clip as the Dodgers. That's the best part about Major League Baseball, like the Orioles. All right. On the other side, we're going to get to the wrap. Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Also in the 4 o'clock hour, we're giving away Charlie Puth tickets. We continue to react to a Padres loss, and this slow start continues. 2-5 overall. They lose in Boston today. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. Here's
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres lost game 1 of their series with the Red Sox today at Fenway 5-2. Michael King took the loss. Game 2 is tomorrow afternoon at 1:10. Randy Vasquez is going to pitch for the Padres, and it's going to be Conley early on the hill for the Red Sox. In NBA news, according to Shams, Luka is going to be out the final 5 games of the regular season for the Lakers with a grade 2 hamstring strain. And in college basketball news, Duke freshman Cameron Boozer was named AP Player of the Year. He got 59 out of the 61 votes from the AP Top 25 voters. He joins Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the AP award, and each of them went in number 1 or 2 in their respective drafts that year. And despite all the Carolina rumors, Coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to a new deal to stay in Arizona. He will be one of the 5 highest paid coaches in all of college basketball. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer.
When you think about the city of San Diego, some of the worst ownership groups with the Clippers situation, with the Chargers situation, even the Padres ownership history hasn't always been smooth sailing.
San Diego's own Alan Sliwa.
I felt like we went through a stage of baseball where everything was so predetermined. Why even have a manager? What's the point of having a manager?
Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Schaefer and Sliwa. Continued reaction to the Padres falling to 2-5 overall. They lose the opener in Boston today, 5-2. If you want to weigh in, text us 70470. Start it with the word team. Our phone lines are open. We've heard from some Padre fans in the first hour of the show. 877-767-4760. I know some people are in their cars right now. You're probably frustrated with the offense or the manager or just the situation. If you want to vent, 877-767-4760. That's the nice thing about what we do. You can kind of just talk
100%.
it out. You can just talk through it, so to speak.
It's a big part of, I think you and I both similar in this, growing up in sports talk radio, as in fans of sports talk radio.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's a big part of how you vent. And listen, I think on the conversation of the Padres, and if you do want to voice your opinion on it, we'd love to hear from you guys. Be specific. What is bothering you the most? Is there a player that's bothering you? Is it the manager? Whatever the case, it could be the energy of the team, whatever it is. I mean, if you ask me that same question, John, I don't know if I could identify one thing. I mean, yes, I think we're all going to say the bats. I think if we just look at the stars for the San Diego Padres, what have they done? They've done nothing so far. They've done nothing so far. So that I think for a lot of people, they started the season so quiet. I'll just go back to this just because you had mentioned it early on, and this was only 3 games in. Like, are they ready? Like, are they ready to start the season? Tatis in a critical at bat, not challenging it, would have worked to his advantage. And you're like, wait, where is everybody here? That's kind of, I think, the mood for a lot of people.
I mean, Schaefer and Sliwa have combined to hit the same number of home runs as Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. Oh, yeah. Now, they might have a better show than we have, but we have been just as good offensively.
Tatis and Machado. It's a good show. They're on 6 to 9
a.m. Right here.
6 to 9 a.m.
All right. Again, we're giving away tickets to see Charlie Puth at Viejas Arena on April 22nd. We've got a family 4-pack of tickets to give away to Sesame Place. Kevin Acee will join us in 55 minutes at 5 p.m. live from Boston. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
After last night, would you take OKC or the field to win it all?
OKC or the field?
OKC or the field.
Okay, so really basically what you're saying is, are you taking OKC or San Antonio, Boston, maybe Detroit? But I stop after Boston. I'm going to take the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I think they'll do it in fewer overall games than they did it last year. That's not saying a ton. They have multiple 7-game series.
But I think what you're saying is they'll probably dominate this postseason.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the 16-1 or 15-1 Lakers.
Yep,
we're not in 01.
Philly against Philadelphia.
But I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't have a series go longer than 6 games. for example, on their way to a title. I think that's very possible.
Especially franchises like OKC. Once you get one, what's the pressure? There is no pressure now. Now, actually, you can probably be the best version of yourself because I think a lot of these teams, or it always takes that first one to kind of get it under. Even like, I mean, just throw a couple of teams. Are the Boston Celtics, is there a lot of pressure on Boston? Well, they already have one. Yes, there is some pressure, but you got one. You don't have to worry about repeating or anything like that.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Next question.
What will be your reaction if UConn wins the national title?
I'll just stop watching college sports. I'll stop watching college basketball until San Diego State's back. I'll be upset about it. I'll be frustrated about it. And I can't stand Dan Hurley. And I think a lot of Aztec fans feel the same way. Actually, you don't have to be an Aztec fan to not like Dan Hurley, but you can
be a fan.
No, you just have to watch him for 10 minutes and realize that. Obviously, UConn taking out San Diego State 2 years in a row. I'm a huge every other team fan now.
So if they win it all, it's 3 and 4 years. Do you understand how ridiculous that is?
Especially in college.
It's one and done with all these variables at every step of the journey. I mean, it's almost impossible to envision. I don't think 3 and 4 has been done since like UCLA in the 60s.
Yeah, you might be right.
Or whenever.
Yeah, you might be right.
Under John Wooden. My reaction wouldn't be great. I don't want to see it, but I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked because if they beat Illinois, I assume they're favored over Illinois in the Final Four.
Yeah, they have to.
I'm making it up. Let's say 3 points, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're going to be a dog against Arizona or Michigan, but like we just said, it's one and done.
Yeah, you got to win one game.
And I feel like all the pressure at that point is on Michigan or Arizona, not on the University of Connecticut. It's house money after the Elite Eight.
I think there's going to be pressure on UConn because they're UConn. There's going to be pressure because it's Dan Hurley. There's going to be expectations of still winning because it's them. But if you're Michigan and Arizona, you're also going up against, don't think that you don't have pressure now in the sense of that's UConn over there. That's Dan Hurley over there. I think you are looking on the other side and intimidated a little bit, even though your record is your record, even though they've been phenomenal so far in the tournament, even though both of them beat San Diego State by Michigan by 40 and Arizona by 20 something. You're going up against a school and a university that's had so much success. They'll be intimidated to go up against UConn. I actually really believe that.
Here's a dumb point spread for you that has, I don't know what written all over it. Illinois is favored by 1.5 against Connecticut. How do you bet that game? Illinois is favored by 1.5. What is Vegas telling us? That's very.
Do you remember yesterday when I said I'll take the points, the 9.5 with the Thunder, and they won by 43? So I'm going to go ahead and not contribute in this one.
Yeah, that is a very interesting betting line. Next question.
Will the Lakers win a title with Luka?
Not this year, in general.
Just in general?
In general.
That's a really good question. Right? Let me give you my thought process here. I want to lean towards yes because of their new ownership.
Right.
Because I do think their new ownership will get that franchise back on track. But let me just say this real quick about Luka. He's going to be 27 years old, which is super young. He's walking into his prime. He's had some injuries. He's had some hamstring issues.
Right.
I mean, you need the best version of Luka Doncic, and you got to make sure, obviously, he's healthy for a year. You got to hit on everything else. You're dealing with OKC and San Antonio for the next 7 years. Wemby ain't going anywhere. Shea ain't going anywhere. Other teams in the Western Conference will try to rebuild. If I had to lean one way or the other, I'm going to lean towards yes because of the new ownership. It's going to be really difficult in order to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would put like the over-under for me is a half title. Like it's hard to, more than one is going to be ridiculously impressive. It really will. And I lean because it is the Lakers franchise that over the next 5 years, they'll put the right team around him at least one time.
But can I tell you, if they didn't trade or if they didn't sell, if you told me the Buss family still, I would actually say no. I think I lean only because of the new ownership.
It's interesting. And to your point, 27, but I mean, how old is Shea? How old is Wemby? I mean, there's other players similar or younger ages that will have just as many opportunities as Luka with the Lakers. Next question.
Now, remember, we only have 2 hours. What's the biggest issue with the Padres?
Their new City Connects, which I haven't even seen.
Well, I've seen them.
I mean, we've seen them, we think.
Yeah.
I think we're right?
I think they're solid. I like them.
Better than what they had, I think.
Yeah. Well, what they had was so unique And I think I see it so often around the city. So I like that people were rocking it, but I like the new ones as well.
Yeah.
What's the biggest issue with the Padres? Is there really isn't everyone going to have the same answer, I think? Is anyone having a different answer?
I mean, you could go more specific. You could say like it's Manny Machado. I wouldn't say that. But I mean, if you wanted to you could say the manager.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that.
I think I got to go with the offense. I got to go with the bats. I mean, I just called out every game they've played so far, just how poor their offense has been. I think it's got to be the offense. Got to be the bats. I
completely agree. I mean, 21 runs in 7 games the investment in the lineup, most of this money is tied up in bats.
Oof.
Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogarts, Jackson Merrill. You've tied up a lot of money in your offense, and you're not getting any productivity. Now, it's only 7 games. Pull up their batting averages. Like, look at today's box score and look at what these players are hitting. Nobody has done anything other than Ramon Laureano. And I'm not just saying that. That's a factual statement. No one is doing anything other than Ramon Laureano.
I'm going to give this to you. Let's do it by average. So that way we can start with the good and then just get more depressed as we go down the list.
Okay.
Ramon Laureano, 318, is a Hall of Famer right now for the San Diego Padres.
Right.
All right. Gavin Sheets, who just started hitting.
He's been hitting the last couple of games.
Last 2 games he started hitting at 250.
Yep.
Is the second highest batting average for the San Diego Padres.
Right.
Only because he just started hitting 2 games ago.
Right.
Manny Machado, 227.
Okay.
Bryce Johnson cracking the top 5 at 200.
Okay.
I'll just kind of name off some of the bigger names. Tatis is batting 200. Jackson Merrill is batting 185. Jake Cronenworth is batting 167. Xander Bogarts, who got, I think, all of his hits in the first game, not literally, but close, is batting 143. Freddie Fermin.
Yeah, has he done anything?
I don't know how you felt coming into the season, but I was excited about Fermin. 0.071 for Freddie Fermin.
So you're saying 071. Now, he's had probably 13 at-bats, but yeah.
That's the Padres offense right now. I mean, and if we equate that to dollar for average, we're struggling on this one.
Yeah, I mean, so we all agree.
A lot of dead money going over there.
It's the offense. I'll stand by the general point of if you go 2-5 from July 1st through the 8th, you can live with it and stomach it. If a player hits 200 for 7 games, of course, that'll inevitably happen over the 162.
And if it does, and when it does, then we can also point to, hey, it was a bad start.
But it's just when you start, so, it's just so, it's just right in front of your face when you start like this. And is Manny Machado going to probably have a productive year? Yeah. I'm not going to go all in and be like, what's wrong with Manny Machado? I've watched this way too much over the last 7 or 8 years. But I will say one player that I just don't know is like a Fernando Tatis Jr. I just don't know who he is. I don't. I love Fernando Tatis Jr. as a player. But to be fair, you have to be very critical. The 2021 and before Toddy to the player we've seen since Toddy, I don't even know who he is as a player right now. And it's frustrating.
You know the worst part about all this? You know who we never, and you obviously been doing this on a daily basis a lot longer than I have for San Diego. You've done a phenomenal job, obviously, covering the Padres. Who do most people bitch and complain about right out the gate? Give me your list. What does it look like?
I mean, Manny.
Okay. Manny's always probably the first one.
Right.
Who's after that?
I mean, Toddy.
Tatis is after that? Sure.
Yeah, it's not going to be Bogarts if that's where you're going with this.
That's where I'm going with
it. Because people have given up on him. Right? Because they don't have any expectations. When you don't have expectations for someone,
that's the worst thing it's because you're right.
It's terrible.
The worst thing is that everybody has basically given up. When you told me yesterday, I almost wanted to lose it, but you were right when you said it. You're like, yeah, he's going to go to Boston. He's going to get a standing
and
go.
He did. Tipped his cap. Or first at bat, standing ovation. Yet here, like crickets when it comes to play.
I had a moment, and I'm glad I didn't do it. And I almost wanted to do it just because of the situation. When he first became a San Diego Padre, and obviously he didn't come out the gate, and he hasn't been good at all in the first 3 seasons as a Padre. I wanted to buy a Xander jersey so bad. I wanted to believe he was going to be a version of himself that he was in Boston. I wanted to believe that this dude was going to be this just stud and come through, and He's already won 2 World Series. He's able to bring this veteran leadership and a champion and a winner and all that.
Don't buy it.
Did not
Unless
buy
it's
it.
at DH gate.
I did not buy it, just so everybody knows, and not buy it.
Probably.
But he
smart.
gets, but there is this like, man, that's deflating to hear what you said, that he gets this. It's not even, I don't even know if free pass is the right way to explain it, but because you have no confidence in him, that you don't even give the energy on it. Why should someone pick up the phone and call about Xander Bogarts and complain? They want to complain about Machado and Tatis. They want to complain about other players. Maybe there's some calls that come towards Jackson, Cronenworth, something like that. But it's because they've given up on Xander.
I think it's the worst contract in Padres history, which is hard to say when you've had an Eric Hosmer
I
deal.
go further than that.
It's probably one of the worst in the history of baseball.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the worst. Like, there's some terrible contracts. Pujols.
No, I'm saying worse than the worst. What is there something that's happened politically that we could also?
No, it's a very bad deal, and I don't know how you get out from underneath it. Truthfully, we don't have enough time to figure that out. Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. On the other side, we'll switch gears momentarily. An executive order has been issued, and will it fix college sports or not? We'll discuss on the other side. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. Sandy, is my mic? I think my camera's been frozen
the whole time.
Maybe, I don't even know.
I have the way I have my screen.
Yeah,
which is so disrespectful. If I got to be honest with you, I have another window open, and I didn't realize I was doing this. All I had was half of my screen where I just saw me. Like, how much of an ego do you have to have?
You're just watching yourself.
You just have to watch yourself the entire time.
No, that's fine.
And I didn't even look at you. You could have been off the screen. You could have been off the camera. You could have been, and nothing. Not working?
Not really. You know, the thing with technology, there I am. Hold on.
And
I love it.
Can I have a little bit?
Can I say this? I'm going to say
no, first off, if you're not going to be on camera,
right, then you can get the whole.
We need to change the lower third right now, too.
To just say Sliwa.
I mean,
I love that. I love that.
Either you're coming or you're not.
If I'm off one day, it's Sliwa. If you're off one day, it's Schaefer. That's what we should do. The name of the show changes.
Put me on the side. I just want to be on like the lower part if I'm not here.
Let me say this about technology. It's great. Like I'm pro internet. Like if I was running for Congress, I'd run on a pro internet platform. Like I like the internet.
Pro internet.
What were people doing? You and I don't know how old you are, but we're similar age, I would assume.
Yeah.
I remember growing up and like we would like play. Like
I know.
Friends
actually go outside.
Like I didn't like if I didn't know something, I would like go to the book and like find the answer. I wouldn't just like ask ChatGPT or my phone. Like everything.
I would just accept I didn't know it.
I just didn't know it. Now it's like everything is at your fingertips, literally at your fingertips. So again, I'm pro internet. I'm not going to run on like anti-internet platform.
This sounds so funny to me to say I'm pro internet.
But here's the thing: when it doesn't work, isn't it funny how it's such a first world issue? It's like I'll be in an arena. I'm like, internet's down. This is a joke for like 5 seconds, and I like start throwing. And that's sure it works on my phone.
Have you ever had this? And everybody's had it. Whatever you have at home, Cox cable, Spectrum, Time Warner, whatever it is.
When it goes out,
all of a sudden there's this like, wait, why isn't the internet? And then you see this red
it's the
button
worst
on your modem or whatever the case is. Like the world's gonna end. Like, why don't you just, I don't know, go outside, go for a walk or something? Can you take 15 minutes?
I know we live in San Diego.
And then you get a text from whichever provider
that's like
down. Service is down.
Be back at 10
You know what
PM.
I say when I say, I know the service is down. I get it. You don't have to tell me. I'm looking around. There's no service.
Yeah, it's just
is your service down?
Anyway, I don't know. I'm back. Anyway, it's a long way of saying I'm back. We don't have a ton of time to react to this, but there was an executive order issued today by the White House related to the future of college athletics. I think by and large, fans of college sports probably want to see the executive order come to fruition, so to speak. It'll be challenged immediately, legally, everywhere, every state, believe me. But the premise of it is this. If you're a college athlete, you can transfer once.
Okay.
You can transfer a second time with a college degree for your last year as well. So you actually could get a second transfer without sitting out. But if you wanted to go, for example, your first year to Duke, second year to San Diego State, that's permissible. But if your third year now you wanted to go to Nevada, no, you got to sit out now. You get the one free transfer. The free transfer means no sitting out.
So you have to sit out for 1 year?
1 year.
Okay.
One redshirted year. Now, the only exception is, let's say I go Duke my first year, San Diego State years 2, 3, and 4. I get a degree from San Diego State. They also in this executive order something called 5 and 5. You have 5 years to play 5 seasons. This is a big push in college athletics because now you have guys playing like 7 years.
Sure.
They're now saying, listen, if you redshirt 1 year, if you blow out your knee, you got 5 years. That's all you have. If you miss a year because of a knee.
If I could be honest with you, that sounds reasonable.
It sounds reasonable.
That sounds fair.
If you're healthy, you can play 5 seasons.
There you go.
And your 5th season, again, if you have a degree from San Diego State, now you can go to North Carolina and you don't have to sit out.
If you're injured for 2 years, you still got 3 years of eligibility total.
Yep. I mean, truthfully, this to me is not political. This is all about college athletics. I think the general idea of kind of pulling back the reins on freedom of movement, name, image, and likeness, rev share. Again, I think we all understand players should be compensated. That's not changing. I have no issue with it. But there should be some like parameters or restrictions probably put in place. They went from nothing to everything really quickly. And it feels like there should be some parameters put in place.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees that we don't know what college basketball, college football is. We don't know the landscape anymore. We think that there is no, it's like you had to drive 25 miles per hour on the freeway, and now it's like you can go 180 and nobody's stopping you. Can we find a middle ground? And I know you and I will try to look at this through the lens of San Diego State University. What could benefit San Diego State? And I'm not here to. I don't know all the nuances of it. You know, part of kind of my own personal education as I come and I take this role, I'm going to learn a lot more about the nuances that is of benefit to San Diego State. What hurts San Diego State University? But I think where everybody could agree is let's get some rules in college athletics. I don't know what the rules are. You want to go spend $5 million on a player, you can do so.
Yeah.
You want to leave if a player just wants to, it's almost like, you're trying to, somebody is an employee at a company and every single year he has 5 different companies that are coming after him. And every single year, he's just kind of holding all these companies a hostage. And It's really who's the highest taker. You can't build a culture at that company.
Yeah.
So it's confusing. I hope it changes. And I don't know if this is the solution, but nothing you just told me sounded absurd. That sounded reasonable. That sounded fair.
Yeah, more reasonable than what's playing out right now. I think most fans of college athletics feel that way. Now, when your favorite team's on, you're watching. When Georgia football is playing, everyone's watching. Alabama's playing. People are watching the Final Four. They almost like put it to the side as the competition is playing out. But everyone understands, like, behind the scenes, like, UConn is playing in a Final Four, yet 3 players in 3 days could be in the transfer. The whole thing is it's just a mess. All right. On the other side, I think to some extent it's a mess, is how I feel about it. On the other side, let's give away Charlie Puth tickets. We'll do that coming up. Again, Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Today, the Padres lost to the Red Sox 5-2 at Fenway. Michael King took the loss. Game 2 is tomorrow afternoon. First pitch is set for 1:10. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Conley Early for the Red Sox. In NBA news, according to Shams, Luka is going to be out the final 5 games of the regular season for the Lakers with a grade 2 hamstring strain. In college basketball news, Duke freshman Cameron Boozer was named AP Player of the Year. He received 59 out of the 61 votes from the AP Top 25 voters. He joins Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the AP award. Each of those players went either number 1 or number 2 in the NBA draft in their respective years. And despite all those Carolina rumors, Coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to a new deal to stay with Arizona. Per ESPN, Arizona's new deal with Lloyd will make him one of the 5 highest paid coaches in college basketball. He's going to average about $7.5 million a year for the lifetime of the deal. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
All right, we're giving away tickets to a concert at Viejas Arena April 22nd. Charlie Puth will be in town. He performed the national anthem at the Super Bowl. We'll give those away in 10 minutes. Kevin Acee is in Boston. Are you I said I was pro-internet. Are you pro? You're probably anti-Boston, would be my guess. Just the Lakers-Celtics rivalry. But are you pro-Boston as a city?
Oh, Boston's a great city.
It's a good city, isn't it?
Phenomenal city.
You know what's funny? 2 years ago around this time, San Diego State was in a Sweet 16 in Boston against UConn. It was 2 years ago. Right around this
Boston,
time.
that's right.
It was home opener for the Padres was that weekend or that day even. But it is a good place.
Boston's a great city. Phenomenal
city. It's a great baseball.
I'm a little, there's certain markets I have some jealousy of. Now, I hate the city from a sports perspective, but I hate the city more from a sports perspective. I guess I don't care anymore, but the Patriots and the Chargers, I hated that.
Right.
And then this year when the Chargers played the Patriots,
you're like
Foxborough, I'm like, I've never loved Vrabel more and the Patriots. So I flipped.
You just reminded me of something. We'll give away the Charlie Puth tickets coming up. This is a crazy story. The crazy story. There's a bill introduced in the Senate to protect franchises from relocating.
This was in the UT?
This was in the UT. And the way it was phrased was like
I'm with you. Not good phrasing. Not good
worded
phrasing.
Headline ever. It was like, new bill introduced in Congress could keep the Padres in San Diego. I'm like, what do you mean could keep the Padres in San Diego? Wasn't the premise that if a team wants to be relocated, they have to wait a year to potentially sell it first?
They got to wait a year, and I think to give an opportunity for other
buyer?
Ownership groups to come in to keep the franchise local.
So the comp would be, let's say within the last 10 years, if this bill existed, before the San Diego Chargers could move to LA, they would have to offer up the franchise to a buyer for 1 year. Before they could move from San Diego to LA, they'd have to offer up the franchise to a suitable buyer. That's what's now been introduced in Congress. Does not mean, by the way, it'll occur.
Here's the exact title, okay?
Yeah.
And it's in the business section of the UT. It says, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders introduces bill that could keep the Padres in San Diego. That's how you read it, right?
It could. What do you mean could?
And the moment I read that, and it says also kind of a subtitle here, the proposed law would likely have kept the Chargers in San Diego. I'll tell you this. When I hear that there's even a discussion, we've had this conversation about how important new ownership is going to be in San Diego, that they're everything. And here's somebody, Joe Lacob, who completely changed the franchise of the Golden State Warriors, as in, other than the Clippers, one of the least successful basketball franchises, right, in the NBA.
Of course.
Lacob comes in. Some people want to give him credit. Some people say, oh, well, you got Steph Curry this. No, I'm going to give the owner credit. I mean, everyone should get credit. They won 4 NBA championships. Here's somebody that has bred a winner up in the Bay, took them from Oakland to San Francisco and built Chase.
Is that a positive, by the way?
Is it the move?
Yeah. No, the Chase, yes, obviously has been the revenue. But was it going from Oakland to San Francisco, people just like, that's fine. I'm like, but is that fine?
You could look at Santa Clarita of where or Santa Clara
right.
of where they ended up moving the Niners. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's probably a big base. Let's just put it this way. If you were a Warriors fan before and it moved from Oakland to San, it's not like you have two franchises that you're competing with. So technically it's still kind of representing everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
But the point I'm trying to make is, if I told you have an ownership group that could potentially buy the Padres, he's having a lot of success somewhere else, he wants to win, he's highly competitive, this, and then there's a story that comes with it. It's like, if you remember the story at one point about the tie to Oakland and would they move the Padres?
Would Joe Lacob move the Padres to Oakland? Why? Even putting that in print.
That's what my point. Instantly, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, Lacob then's got to be out of the mix here. And I'm the one that values ownership more than anything else. Most people should. But just even having a sentence or an article that's even in the cards, it's like, well, then now we got to take out this owner that could be great for the Padres.
But here's the thing. I agree with you. And even conversing about it feels kind of wrong. But then again, we're in San Diego where franchises have gotten up and moved. Yeah, I mean,
they have a lot more franchises that have moved than have stayed.
And here's the other thing. The UT recently wrote an article. I think Jennifer Van Grove, who does like their business writing, she writes some really detailed pieces.
Yeah.
And in some of her reporting, and I don't have it in front of me, but the premise was like, the Padres lease only protects this franchise for like a couple of years.
2030 or something like that, I think was it.
So yeah, they're only guaranteed, like the contractual obligation of the Padres to this ballpark is a very short window. It wasn't dozens of years or tens of years. It was like, no, like 5 years. Like, wait, what? So again, I have to assume a record sale, a big portion of the reason why you would get that figure is because of the passionate fan support, because of Petco Park, because of San Diego as a market. That to me is what.
Can I give you one other one on top of that? Part of it is also probably the reason there's only one professional team of the top four here.
Which makes it a unicorn of a city, because we've talked about this. The only city in America that only has a baseball team among the big four is San Diego, California. The only city in America other than Sacramento, but that's fake because the A's are moving. The only city in America.
Yeah, and listen, my hope and goal is obviously this changes and there's another professional team that eventually comes to San Diego, whether that's an NFL team. If NHL, that's unlikely, right, go NHL. If that's unlikely, go NBA. You got to get as many professional teams as you possibly can. I do feel like there's a lot of opportunity in San Diego, but to even have the conversation that the Padres could potentially move, just again, I go back to that the story, the tie with Joe Lacob and everything else. It's like, my God, if there was another gut punch like that, I give up. And a lot of people have given up, but I have not. But I'm just saying that can't happen.
The first question at the press conference, which by the way could be this month, they could be sold this month. There could be a press conference this month. I mean, Kevin Acee has told us that. He'll join us at 5 p.m. First question. You're committing to keeping the franchise in San Diego for generations to come, right? Yes or no? I don't want to hear an answer. I don't want, we love this ballpark and we love. No. It's a yes or no question.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yes.
Why? How is this even a topic? Like, can you imagine that?
Well, I mean, there's been like five articles on it. I agree with you. You're right.
But I'm saying the fact that has to even be asked.
I know.
But that's also comes with the history of this city. That's why so many people, I mean, yesterday we were having a conversation because I forget how the Sonics came up, but we were talking about the Seattle Supersonics.
Didn't they almost move here at one point, by the way? In like the 80s?
I don't know. I don't know if they almost did, but we were talking the conversation came up about the Sonics.
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation. I think maybe what we were saying was you can look at Seattle was such a great basketball market. And now, they've been gone. I think because we're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder and everything else, that they were such a lot of NBA fans remember Seattle as a phenomenal NBA market. The Seattle Supersonics. And it's going to go full 360 because it does look like the NBA is going to expand and Seattle's going to get a team back. And then you and I kind of went in this, well, if Seattle can eventually get a team back, is there an opportunity down the road where I know we just used the Chargers as an example because they left, but are we sitting here 10 years from now or 15 years from now and the Chargers were to come back, or there was an expansion in the NFL and a professional team came back to San Diego, that's, I think, the tie that we are looking at. But of course, everybody's very sensitive of the topic. Of course they are.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
So when you see a title that says U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders introduces bill that could keep the Padres in San Diego, you're like, what the F?
Honestly, I had said once I learned the Padres are for sale, go find the right owner that's committed to winning. But now what's trump that is, well, you have to stay. I would take the second
Lord.
most committed owner that guaranteed staying for 55 years over the most committed owner that's non-committal.
And you got a freaking city you can't get any more desperate than San Diego of wanting to win something. And here we are having to talk about what's, obviously the conversation being about keeping the team in San Diego. I don't think they'll go anywhere. I think most people think they're not going to go anywhere. But the fact that we even have to have that conversation,
I agree with
that part is probably the most frustrating thing I've ever heard.
Kevin Acee will join us live from Boston at 5 p.m. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Charlie Puth at Viejas Arena on April 22nd. Caller 7. You are going. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Charlie Puth at Viejas April 22nd in less than 3 weeks. 877-767-4760. Great giveaway. Call right now. 877-767-4760 for 2 free tickets to see Charlie Puth. Kevin Acee from Boston live at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760. John Schaefer, Alan Sliwa. Kevin Acee from Boston, Massachusetts, coming up at 5 p.m. Kevin's seen it firsthand the first 7 games of the year. He's seen the good, bad, and ugly. There's not a lot of good anymore. Michael King today. I don't know if we got into that earlier or not. Did we get into the fact that Michael King?
No, let's do it. Let's do it right now.
He was lifted with 2 outs in the 6th inning in a 3-2 game.
I think in order. I think got an out, solo shot.
Yeah, got an out, single?
No, single,
then out.
Got an out, and then pulled.
And then he was lifted. So he's lifted with 2 outs for a lefty on lefty situation. Marcelo Meyer, the Chula Vista product. And they bring in a lefty. Wandy Peralta. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Now, King had only thrown 81 pitches. It's easy in hindsight to go where I'm going. What I'm going with is, I promise you this, King's not thrilled to be lifted with 2 outs in an inning. Sure. I know that. It's
especially coming off 2 outs.
Yeah, with 2 outs.
Inning. Yep.
So, and then Peralta comes on. It's the second time in a week he's blown the opportunity lefty on lefty. He did it to McGonigal the other day with Detroit. He does it again here today to Meyer. And again, it's like, it's easy to second guess when you're not winning. I always said this about Mike Schilt. Like or hate, he pulled a lot of the right strings. He knew how to navigate his bullpen through 3, 4, 5 innings.
Yeah,
and it hasn't worked as swimmingly for the former pitcher reliever. They're like this idea, hey, he's a reliever. He's going to know how to do it. Maybe he will, but so far, not so good.
Let me play this out for you. Let's say they keep Michael King in.
Yeah.
Wandy Peralta doesn't give up that 2-run homer. King solid, finishes it out, ends up going 6th inning for the Padres.
6 innings, 3 runs.
They lose 3-2.
It's no better.
So my point is that you're not wrong on, hey, maybe you question decision, maybe you don't. I don't think this isn't a crazy one. This isn't,
No, and that's
going lefty is fine. It's all
crazy.
good. 81 pitches. Okay. You're getting towards that territory. Yeah. You had 2 balls hit in that inning very hard. The single was hit hard, the solo shot. So I can justify all that.
I agree.
But you lost 3-2 again. As in, even if you don't give up that 2-run homer, that doesn't change anything for the top 5 in your order. That doesn't change anything for Tatis and Machado and Jackson Merrill and Xander Bogarts and go down the list. The issue with the Padres is, here's one thing we know. If they go down, they're not coming back. That's kind of a very simple one there.
Put it on a billboard.
And we had this before the season started. Craig Stamon was talking a lot about how this season it was about playing with a lead.
Mm-hmm.
Getting runs early. Look how good our bullpen is. We can play with a lead. It obviously changes kind of the whole landscape of a game. Well, they're not jumping in front of teams very often.
No.
And what does that do does it help to have the best bullpen? What's the advantage of having the best bullpen in Major League Baseball and arguably the best closer in Major League Baseball if you never have a lead? Yes, you can kind of keep games interesting. But at the end of the day, these bats, and just kind of going back to that Michael King situation, even if they got out of that inning, they didn't score another one. They went through such a stretch here where, especially specifically in this game, I think how many?
13 of 14 sent down early, and then 13 of 14 sent down later.
With Machado getting a walk with 2 outs.
2 outs. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, we've beaten around this week on Schaefer and Sliwa, week number 1, the WBC hangover idea. All of it is too simple. Remember, we had a caller earlier. It's like, maybe it's the ownership situation. No, WBC hangover, too simplified. First-year manager. No, I think that, Machado's not struggling because Craig Stamon is his manager. Mm-hmm. So I think it all goes back to this for me.
Maybe it's the Bernie Sanders article.
Yeah, they're reading too
just
much.
Keep stretching everything.
I think it just feels like they need to wake up, which again is oversimplifying it as well. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't think it's going to take a lot. As in, you're only a 2-game winning streak away from saying they woke up. Mm-hmm. It takes winning Saturday and Sunday at Fenway, or winning, is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Pittsburgh, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I don't even know. But, winning the first 2 in Pittsburgh, and you're going to feel a lot better about the Padres. So on one hand, I think they're a 2-game winning streak away from everyone saying everything is fine. On the other hand, you're 2 losses in Boston away from once again being back to houses burning, skies falling, and the concern level is through the roof.
Yeah, I think the issue is I feel like we're just having the same conversation after every game. And the conversation has more to do with, like, just pay attention to what we've said over the last week. it hasn't really changed. It could be the energy. It could be how come they're getting off to a slow start. It could be the bats. It could be some concerns with the starting rotation. Nothing's really changed. Like it feels like it's the same problems that the Padres are having. And, the hope is that they just don't put themselves in a position. If they're 20 games in and you start looking up and they're 6, I don't think they're going to be this. Let's say they're 7-13, 20 games in. The concern is you just start digging yourself a hole. Think of all the teams last season that were competitive in the NL. You got a lot of squads, and I think this is always going to be the conversation with the Padres. They don't feel like a team that if they fall 6, 7, 8 games below 500, they're just going to storm back at some point and something's going to change. So you just want to hover around 500 right now, and clearly early on they haven't been able to do that.
And it's funny, to your point, it's like when they fall behind, you don't feel good about their ability to come back and win. And if they fall 6, 7, 8 under 500, how confident would you be as a Padres fan that they're going to come back and get back over 500 at some point? We'll talk all about it with Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. He will join us coming up at 5 p.m. right here, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Padres play again tomorrow afternoon, by the way. Game 2 of their series, Randy Vasquez. He's the rotation bright spot at this point. He was scoreless, I think, in 6 innings in his first outing of the year. So,
and again, his role is continuing to become a necessity.
Basically putting zeros up there.
Yeah.
And because, again, Joe Musgrove out.
Sure.
Again, we are kind of talking in circles on it because it's like, what else can you possibly say about this team? It's hard right now to be like everything's going to be fine, but maybe it will. I mean, I'm not willing to say it's not going to be fine. It's just hard for me to say, you know what? Let's just give it 10 days. Let's just look up in 10 days and see where they are. And everything's going to be fine. Maybe it will be. Maybe it'll be fine in 10 days. Maybe that's the solution. Just give it more time. With another 10 days, everything is going to be fine.
They go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So that'll be the 3-game set against Pittsburgh.
Monday, Tuesday. By the way, Pittsburgh, not to get ahead of ourselves, they called up the top prospect in the sport today. He had an RBI double in his debut. They win. They've gotten off to a good enough start. They're 4-3 overall. This was always, we talked about this, the first 12 games. I talked about it with you, talked about it with Kevin. And a lot of people thought, hey, you go 6-6 there and you're probably all right. This isn't the easiest stretch with some of the pitching you're going to see. Paul Skeens, never faced Paul Skeens in his career. I'm taking 6-6 right now. I mean, that would be unbelievable.
How did Skeens do in his second start?
Good question. Was that today or was that in the final game of the road show?
I'm going to look. It's okay. You're good.
Well, it must not have been bad because you would have seen it.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's all it really talked about on opening day was his terrible start. It must have been yesterday.
I want to know. I'm looking it up. And what he did in his second start was he went 5 innings, 1 run.
Okay.
In Cincinnati in a win. So he got a win. They won.
Because if he wasn't on track and he wanted to wait, Padres are coming up. We'll get everybody back on track.
I don't want to pitch well until I face San Diego. I'm holding off until I face San Diego.
He's looking at San Diego and saying this squad's got the Giants back on track, taking care of the Boston Red Sox.
Isn't it weird that in his first 2 seasons he hasn't faced the Padres?
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah,
that's 4 series of games.
Did I see something too? Was this, don't quote me on this one. Was this Tatis's first game at Fenway? Can't be right?
2024, they had the universal schedule. I don't know if he was healthy. Why was he hurt? He had the leg, right?
I saw something on Twitter, and it looked like he was just kind of looking around and taking it all in, if you want to call it.
Interesting.
And it looked like, I thought I saw that's what it was.
Anyways. It was? All right, Brent says it's interesting.
First game at
Fenway Park. All right, let's connect with Kevin Acee, our Padres insider on the other side. Plus, we're giving away a family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place in the 5 o'clock hour, reacting to a Padres loss in Boston to kick off their first road trip of the season with Kevin Acee, who joins us next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. The Padres lost to the Red Sox today 5-2 at Fenway. Michael King took the loss. Game 2 is tomorrow afternoon. First pitch is set for 1:10. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Connolly early. In NBA news, according to Shams, Luka is out for the final 5 games of the Lakers regular season with a grade 2 hamstring strain. In college basketball news, Duke freshman Cameron Boozer is named AP Player of the Year. He got 59 out of the 61 votes. He joins Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the AP award. And despite all the Carolina rumors, Coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to a new deal to stay with Arizona. Per ESPN, Lloyd's new deal will have him being one of the 5 highest paid coaches in college basketball. Shop Springfest at Lowe's to get an additional free Eagle 56-volt battery when you buy a select Eagle mower, trimmer, or blower. Only at Lowe's, valid through April 8th while supplies last.
Always great to welcome in our Padres Insider Kevin Acee. He is in Boston, Massachusetts, where the Padres' first road game of the year ends in defeat. They lose 5-2, and they're now 2-5 on the season. Kevin, as always, we appreciate you taking time for us here on San Diego Sports 760. I guess I'll start with the simple question without the simple answer. What's going on right now with this offense that has scored 21 combined runs in 7 games?
Well, they would have you believe, and I don't think they're entirely wrong, and none of us have the time or the expertise to break down every single one of their at-bats and have a really cogent argument with them, but they would maintain that if they continue doing what they're doing, things will change. And there are some metrics that suggest that that's, okay, cool, 7 games in, right? Small sample size, things haven't gone your way. If this is July, it's like, okay, fine, man, they had 7 games where they were smacking the ball kind of, and it didn't go their way. Okay, all right, whatever. It's magnified at the beginning of the season. But yeah, my answer to you is like, they're just not hitting well. And, Jackson Merrill's had his moments. And that's about it, right? If we're talking about like the guys you expect to hit, Jackson Merrill's had his moments, and that's about it.
Kevin, is there one thing and maybe it is the bats, is there one thing that's just surprised you the most? Maybe walking into the season, you thought, oh, I think this is going to happen. And again, like we've said, and we'll probably continue to say for the next month or so, small sample size. Anything specific stood out to you so far?
What has stood out to me is that the things that we were concerned about going in are the things to be concerned about now. That has stood out to me. So it's not like really anything has surprised me. I wouldn't have necessarily been surprised if Manny had started hot, or Tatis had started hot, or Merrill had started super hot, or I wouldn't have been surprised because that's what they're supposed to do and they're capable of doing that. But I guess the big thing to me so far is like same as, after the first couple series, which is, well, we were a little worried about the starting pitching, and we were a little worried about the offense, and here, this is what happened. Now, Michael King wasn't terrible today, and he made it an out away from, getting what would have been a quality start. Didn't happen. So, hey.
Can I ask you about that to follow up, Kevin Acee, your Padres Insider? It's not like the game was determined by pulling King for Peralta there. I mean, they didn't score another run. They already trailed 3-2, so they likely lose either way. Do you find that to be, again, with the benefit of hindsight, it's very easy for me to play this game. I would imagine at 81 pitches, Michael King thinks he probably should stay in that game. This is, I think, the second time now they've gone to Peralta in one of these lefty-on-lefty spots. It hasn't worked out. With the benefit of hindsight, you think he sticks with King there, or is that what they wanted to do? Get it to a lefty, give it to Peralta, and trust their bullpen from there on out?
Yeah, that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that you asked, because I feel like, John, you have a good pulse on the the mindset of the fan. Maybe not as good as a pulse as our boy Matt Devine, but you got a good pulse on what the people are talking about and thinking about. And my newsletter tomorrow will address this very thing where this guy, and Craig was so good about it. I talked to him today in the dugout. So good about it. And he's just so candid. I'm sure people have a big problem with that too. But like, here's a guy that we've all been questioning for taking guys out too soon. Yeah. And now we're questioning them for taking a guy out too soon. Like, you know, the opposite, right? Yeah. Like, we're saying it's too soon now. And we're taking guys out, too late, leaving them in too long. And now we're saying too soon, right? So come on. And I'm not saying that to you necessarily, John, because it's a valid question. I asked the question a different way to Craig Stamon after the game, but it's a valid question. And so I'm glad that you asked it, but like, oh, for the love of Pete, can this guy do anything right? Exactly. And I'm not saying that all the decisions he's made are right. Do not get me wrong. Like I've questioned him as well, but like, holy smokes, folks. And then the reason today, end of the fifth, some hard hit outs. Sixth, you had 113 mile an hour single and a home run that went on to, and I realize it's not that big of a poke to hit a ball into the street here, but you know, Wilson Contreras did it. And so that was the reasoning. And I am sure in the back of his mind to some extent, even though the matchup with Wandy is what they wanted, in the back of his mind to some extent, he's probably going, oh man, I'd love to leave Michael out there, but look what's happened when I've done that. And I will tell you, he was gone. He was on the top step. It wasn't like he was battling with himself. He was on the top step before that strikeout, because Michael's last batter, I believe, was a strikeout. He was ready. Craig was ready to go.
Kevin Acee joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Kevin, we were talking about, we're looking at the bats, and instantly you bring up Manny Machado, you bring up Fernando Tatis, you bring up Jackson Merrill, just going up and down the list. And John said something that I'm curious, to get your pulse on this. Xander Bogarts' name doesn't really come up in the sense that the expectation, you've almost lost your expectation, or he's retrained your expectation. Kind of crazy to say, obviously this early into a contract and this long of a contract. Just what's your thoughts on where we're sitting here? And I don't even hear fans even in going after Xander either. Just, your thoughts on that topic alone.
You're right. Like they do go after him, but it's almost like in a tired way. Like you don't expect it. Like, look, Xander Bogarts is a part of the big four only because of the numbers of, the size of his contract, right? Yeah. Like, he's not a guy. I mean, how to phrase it here? He shouldn't be considered a part of the big four because of his performance overall since joining the Padres, but he should be considered a part of the big four because he makes $25 million a year. And, he got a standing ovation today that delayed his first at bat. As a matter of fact, the ovation and the delay before his first at bat was 10 times as long as his at bat, because it was one pitch foul out. But like, the guy was an incredible player here in Boston. So great question, like an apt question that I am just constantly thinking about, because it is a problem, but I love it. Like the way you phrased it. Yeah. I think like I do hear about him a lot from fans, but less than, used to. Sure. And it's more in like a resigned way. Like, Xander's still not very good.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Kevin. I mean, I just looking at where they're 7 games, it's hard for you to go all in. I mean, what we do, both you and your daily writings and us on the radio, where you talk about it for hours at a time. I mean, you have to give it the benefit of a little more time here. But when I see a team that's collectively hitting 192, I do kind of scratch my head. This was an offense that was among the worst in baseball last year by a lot of metrics, more so with power, I would say. And here we are 7 games in, and some of those same issues are still plaguing this team. And I think it's also very easy for me to say, that they didn't really address the issue that their lineup was experiencing last year. Did they not? Like, what was the big addition to change their slug? Was it just saying, well, Tatis will hit 35 home runs, trust me? Or so I guess on one hand, it's like, oh, I'm surprised they're only hitting 192 with that slug. But on another hand, isn't this kind of who they were for a lot of last year?
Well, that's why it's not really an overreaction at this point, right?
Right.
Right. Like it is if you're saying, oh, they're done, they're
Of
toast.
course, yeah.
But it's not that we're just basing any sort of claims of calamity on 7 games. It's that it's a continuation. And what did they address? Well, it's a little, you answered it. Like it was, hey, we've got guys, by the way, that we're paying a buttload that should hit. And okay, we didn't hit very well against lefties, so Miguel Andujar. And this guy had a 990 OPS the last 2 years and 500 plate appearances or whatever against lefties. And so that was it. That's how they addressed it. Hope and Miguel Andujar.
Kevin, I'm only bringing this up because John and I were talking a little bit earlier. There was an article in the UT today, and I'm not sure if you got a chance to read it or not, from Philip Molnar. And it says, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders introduces bill that could keep the Padres in San Diego. We are kind of already gotten to some of the details of it. Just this is more just a thought, a conversation. Do you see any world like is this a conversation? Should John and I ever waste our time having a conversation about this? Because just the thought of it is, I can't even tell you what that does to my stomach, and I'm sure to many San Diegans. Just what should we ever bring this up? Should it be a conversation?
The thought of what of the bill,
the relocation piece
of the actual Padre piece.
No, like they're not moving. I mean, they're not moving because of a new owner. That's not a thing. I think it's an interesting topic when a senator like Bernie Sanders, or I don't know exactly how that all works. I forget from school. Like I'm not sure what the whole legislative process is. What was that thing that used to be on? You guys are too young.
Bill on Capitol Hill.
Yeah. So I forget all that. But anyway, I think it's interesting, but okay. I mean, it's interesting. Like they weren't moving anyway. So, okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's not something.
I feel a little better. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah. Again,
we've talked about it.
Yeah.
The Padres are being sold. Do you know what else is being sold? The freaking 90 sellouts in the last 96 games is being sold, and the all the people coming and buying beers, and all the people out there on the Gallagher Square and the ballpark. I mean, that's being sold as well. This team's not moving.
You know what it is, Kevin? It's the any San Diegan it's like almost you don't trust anybody or anything anymore, right? So I think it's that's always in the back of your mind. And again, just the fact that there's an article here or there that's obviously makes a San Diegan feel different than if it was somebody from a different city.
Let me say this: if I could just beg people to have some context to understand, I'm the guy who covered, like no one else did at the time, the relocation process, and based on extremely high-placed sources in the league. And around San Diego, I said, I was a columnist at the time, and I said the Chargers aren't moving, and I was wrong. So if you think that and I take that very seriously, believe me, I still hear about how I was wrong about that, and I own it. And I sat in my hotel room that night and I cried, just to be honest with you, because I was so bummed I'd let people down that way. And during that process, I came to know fans. Like a lot of times I talk about being in my ivory tower and the press box, and not really. I connected with fans and their stories. And I had my own backstory with the Chargers being a native San Diegan. I was devastated to have been wrong and that they left, but to be wrong about that, because that was a big deal. The biggest story in San Diego sports history. So I just will give that to say I am now screaming at the top of my lungs that the Padres aren't leading. I would not be doing that
Yeah.
if I did not believe it 100%.
That's good perspective. By the way, I was crying when the top of the order went 0 for 19 today. Just sitting there.
Yeah, it
bawling.
takes a little more for me, John. It takes a little more for me.
I know. It's
I was,
basic.
I was there covering the owners meetings in New York. As I spent a lot of time in New York as the owners met on this thing, and I filed my story and I laid down on my bed and I was surprised. It wasn't like sobbing. I surprised myself as I'm laying there thinking about this. Tears began rolling down my face. I was so disappointed at how it had all played out and my part in it.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. Hopefully Padres fans aren't crying this weekend. They could use a win. Kevin,
I cried during our Xander conversation, but we'll keep that in second.
Kevin, enjoy Boston. We'll catch up with you from Pittsburgh, PA, coming next week.
Right on.
All right, great
Take
stuff.
care.
Thank you.
All right, a lot to get into from that conversation. We'll do it on the other side. Plus, we're giving away tickets to Sesame Place, a family 4-pack of tickets this hour on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760.
So affordable.
Schaefer and Sliwa, we're talking about the Padres lineup. We're living in San Diego. Living in San Diego is not cheap. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's
fair
kind of
statement.
like a given one.
Yeah, that's
a given one.
It's always
I actually don't understand it.
That is expensive. Well, it's really nice.
Okay, so I grew up my whole life.
Yeah, you're San Diego.
In San Diego. I've only been in Southern California, so even if I'm in LA, okay, well, it's not like
you've literally because you went to San Diego State.
Went to San Diego State,
and then you worked in LA and San Diego.
I've never lived past. I think the furthest I've been is Pasadena. That's it.
That's it. But you've been other places, right?
And the amount of
what's that movie,
drives-
Brent? Like where you live in a bubble.
The
guy
amount of
never, yeah,
Wait, that's not the Jim Carrey movie. Is it?
yeah. That's what I'm
Is it
talking
the
about.
Jim Carrey movie? Phenomenal movie. Good.
Truman Show.
Yeah.
Is that you?
I have been to other places.
Okay, you've been outside,
but
the
I've
area.
not lived in other places.
Okay.
All we're used to is just the absurdity of wait, how much is that?
Right.
Do you ever do this? Probably don't, but if you do, now that every site that you go to, like a Redfin or a Zillow or something like that,
Everything's millions of dollars.
well, but they do it all for you. We got the total right here for you.
Yeah, the mortgage.
Here's what the mortgage is.
It's $12,000 a month.
It's $12,000 a month. By the way, we have not added the HOA yet. Let's put that on the side. Let's do that separately. Insurance and tax, don't worry about it.
I mean, this is why Manny needed 350, and this is why Xander needed 280. It's not cheap,
I'm not kidding. I'm really saying, and I loved that conversation that's the third time that we've done an interview with AC.
Yeah.
You've probably done it 300 times.
Yeah.
It's the third time for me.
Right.
That was the most enjoyable conversation I had with AC because the Xander topic in itself, he's laughing when I'm asking the question. I'm like, there's no emotion. I don't have any emotion. Like, nobody wants to yell and get upset at Xander anymore. Why are you going to get upset? It's like if you're a parent and you have a kid that just doesn't listen to you, it's like you stop. You're like, yeah, I just, there's nothing I could do there. You're a business owner, you have an employee where it's like, yeah, I know that employee's not going to give me anything. That's Xander? How is that Xander? The dude's got such great history in the league, and that's Xander?
What's going to happen?
Okay.
Because this is year 4 for Xander of an 11-year deal. The first 3 have not gone well. In all likelihood, it's not getting better.
I'm predicting 2030, he's going to kill it.
Imagine. Well, you can't wait that long, and you also can't. And you also can't just you just can't write off $200 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're going to be 4 years in out of 11. If this season is like the first 3, at what point do you stop just saying run it back with him? I don't think it's next year, but there'll also be a new ownership group. There's going to come a time.
What are the options?
I mean, there's a couple. You can move them. Easier said than done, and just eat a bulk of the salary.
So basically move him, and whoever trades for him, you're saying, hey, if he's still owed X amount of dollars, we'll pay 80% of it.
Do that. I mean, if he's owed, I'm making it up 190 at the end of this year. You're going to write a check for 160. That's insane.
Give me the next option.
The other option is you write the check for 190 and let him go. It won't happen.
Yep.
Could happen with some franchises in the history of sports. I wouldn't see the Padres. And then other than that, you hope and pray that the problem with bad contracts in baseball is,
I think I know what's going to happen. Go.
But the problem with bad contracts in baseball is you justify them by continuing to dig deeper. It's almost like it makes you worse because you play someone every day. It was already a bad contract, and now you're forced to play him every day. And you don't move him down the lineup because you paid him $280 million. It's like you're digging deeper holes because you signed a bad contract.
I got the solution for you.
Okay.
He's 33 years old right now.
Yeah.
Okay. When the time comes, when you start realizing that the window is closed, it's not. So I'm not going to sit here and try to make an argument that the Padres have no shot at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think every year that goes by, just use as an example, it's like we don't know if Musgrove's going to ever come back and be a healthy Joe Musgrove. We know just what happened with Yu Darvish and his health situation, his age, and everything else. There's certain players that are kind of a part of this window that the Padres were in will eventually phase out. I don't know what Machado's going to be in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell you that once it becomes kind of official, and that could be 3 years from now, that could be 5 years from now, where basically this iteration and this chapter of Padres baseball is coming to an end, then you're going to have to end Xander at that point too. Because, and if that's buying him out, you don't buy him out now, but can you buy Xander out when he's got $100 million left on his contract?
Yeah, maybe. Probably.
Can you make a trade for Xander to go somewhere else and you're paying 80 of the 100?
Right.
I'm making things up. You just can't do it right now. The problem with Xander Bogarts is we're talking about 4 or 5 years down the road.
Yeah, you don't want to play him every day.
When he's already done for the last, okay, does there come a point where you take Xander and say, we're not better with you in the, that might not be this year, might not be next year. Does it come a point where you tell him?
Yeah, there'll come a point. There would come a point. And you're right. It's not this year and it's not yet, but there'll come a point.
Problem is, I don't think they have really all these other great options.
No, they really don't.
He's not taking anything away from somebody else.
No, 100%. I mean, it's a very good point. But yeah, it's problematic. And we can hope it gets better, but it's just wishful, I would say, at this point with Xander Bogarts. Let's give away some Sesame Place tickets coming up on the other side. Plus, a day out from the Final Four, some news related to next year's NCAA tournament that we'll share with you coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa. San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. The Padres lost their first game of the series to the Red Sox today, 5-2 at Fenway. Michael King took the loss. Game 2 is tomorrow afternoon at 1:10. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Connolly early. In NBA news, according to Shams, Luka is going to be out for the final 5 games of the Lakers regular season with a grade 2 hamstring strain. In college hoops news, Duke freshman Cameron Boozer was named AP Player of the Year. He got 59 out of the 61 votes from the AP Top 25 voters. He joined Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the AP award. Each of those players went either number 1 or 2 in the NBA draft in their respective years. And despite all those Carolina rumors, Arizona coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to a new deal to stay with the Wildcats. Per ESPN, Arizona's new deal with Lloyd will make him one of the 5 highest paid coaches in college basketball. He's going to average about $7.5 million for a year for the life of the deal. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
All right, San Diego Sports 760. A couple of stories to update you on. It's now being reported that Luka's hamstring strain is a grade 2 strain, not a grade 1. The significance there, according to like ChatGPT, is you're talking weeks, not a week or 2, right, Alan? But 3 to 6 weeks. The problem is the postseason is going to start in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I could give you just a perfect. I can wrap up the Lakers season here really quick.
You want to do the wrap-up show?
The season is over. Like that, what you just said about his injury. By the way, they were never going to win a championship. The Oklahoma City Thunder reminded everybody yesterday they weren't going to win a chip. But I think for the Lakers, what they were just trying to accomplish is Luka Doncic is one of the top 3 players in the world, top 4 at the worst. He's just an amazing player.
Right.
He has such an amazing month of March. Lakers went 15-2. Their goal was what? Their goal, I think, at this point is make the playoffs, win a round, put up a fight against the San Antonio Spurs. That was kind of right. I think you could have walked away from that season saying, hey, that was a pretty decent season for the Lakers. And I know that sounds a little, but it's the Lakers. Yeah, but it's the reality. Like that's what they have. That's what they're working with. The grade 2 hamstring injury, and I saw this earlier. I think if I'm correct on this, grade 1 is like 1 to 2 weeks. Grade 2 is 3 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So now they'll try to hold on to the number 3 spot in the regular season, which won't be a guarantee. They'll get a little time off because of the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
But if he came back in 3 weeks, which do I think the Lakers are going to take that advantage? You're going to play probably 3 games in that 1 week of the first round, and you will be down 3-0 against anybody you play, because not having Luka Doncic in a game is changing your quarterback at, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. Maybe Josh Allen more because he hasn't won a Super Bowl.
I will say this. Tell me, is this just coincidental or circumstantial? Going back to last postseason, all the great players in the NBA just get hurt. That's overselling it. Obviously, Shea didn't and the Thunder didn't, but a lot of great players.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton, who just came back from the Achilles for the Jason Tatum.
That's right. Tatum.
Obviously, Luka here, this is significant. This isn't day to day. When you get beyond week to week, it's obviously significant. Just circumstantial, just part of the game, or is this at an alarming rate that's concerning for the league in general?
Well, it's weird because it's not like, let me give you an example. There's a lot of chatter around the NBA of like, hey, wait, why is this 65 game threshold there in order to win these individual awards and all NBA first team and all that stuff? Well, there's a reason why, because a lot of guys aren't playing 65 games anymore.
Right.
And there is load management, and there is this kind of black eye in the NBA. Maybe that's a little too dramatic but the NBA is kind of known where, I don't know. I could pay X amount of dollars to go to a game, and I'm not sure if the stars are going to play.
I know.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
So with that being said, well, if the stars and a lot of these players are playing less games, how can you have injuries? Is it the style of play? Is it the fact that you're running up the floor now and it's much different? It's such a faster pace. Maybe it's that. Is it the equivalent of pitchers in today? They need you throwing 98, 99, 100. And if you're not throwing that, then what is and the Tommy John surgery has become just so normal, like you're going through a drive-through at Starbucks. So I don't know if you can equate what's going on with the NBA and why this many injuries, but you've had phenomenal, great players playing the game, and Luka missing a handful of games against the Lakers basically just means the Lakers season is going to end. It was going to already end in the second round. Now it probably ends in the first round.
The other thing to switch gears from the NBA to college is we touched on this earlier in the week, but it's now being reported by multiple outlets that it's almost a formality that the NCAA tournament will expand, and they'll announce it after the tournament, maybe as soon as this month. So are we in favor here? I saw Brent shake his head back and forth like, no. We're talking about going from 68 to 76.
Yeah.
8 more at-large spots.
Is there any negotiation for 96? Like, can we go from?
What about 128?
How many?
256?
I'll tell you why I like 256.
Would be an awesome tournament, dude.
I like the number. I like that. There's something about the number.
What network would have those games be on? Like,
CNN is carrying games at that point.
At 256, it's on every single network. But
CNN's got games. Fox News is carrying games.
Part of me says 76. Okay, you're giving opportunities to programs getting squeezed like the San Diego States of the world. But the other part of me is this: on a year where you might comfortably be in the field, now you're playing a quote unquote play-in to get into the field of 64, if that makes sense. Because now we're going to take the last, making it up, 8, 12, 16 teams in the field, and we're going to make them play to get into the field of 64. So now all of a sudden where San Diego said, hey, they're comfortably in, I'm making it up, they're a 9. Well, 9s play 12s and 10s play 11s for the right to get into like the true bracket. So it's like you're playing an extra game.
We should have so there's a bracket to get into the bracket,
which is kind of what's going on.
Have they thought of another bracket before that bracket?
I kind of like, well, look at the NBA. The NBA kind of has a bracket.
Yeah, they got the bracket. Okay, I can simplify this for you.
Yeah.
No, you don't need any more teams.
68's good or 76 is good?
I don't even think 68. I think 68's a lot.
Right.
I mean, if you want me to go back to the original, the 64.
Yep.
Every sport has the same problem, but every sport is just doing it for one reason. Does the NBA need 82 regular season games plus a play-in tournament?
Probably not.
To get into the playoffs?
Probably not.
You already have 8 on both sides getting in.
Right.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier that in Major League Baseball, if you get into the playoffs, anything can kind of happen.
Yeah.
In the NBA, that's not really the case. You don't need 8 in the East and 8 in the West. And now what they're saying is, well, let's actually go 10 on both sides. So you can be 7-8 games below 500. And they say, you know what? You still got a shot to go to the playoffs. In this scenario, did San Diego State deserve to be in the tournament this year?
I mean, that's a tricky one, honestly.
Okay. I can give you, I know this is an opinion from everybody. I think this is one of those years where I can lean towards they didn't deserve to be in it.
Yeah, they had opportunities to earn their way in, is what you're saying.
So if you now expand it to let a team like San Diego State in, I'm excited because San Diego State's in.
Right.
But did they earn it? And I think with all of the sports right now, this is what you're running into. Do you need 162 games in Major League Baseball? That's the regular season. I love the wild card idea because they were already, that was such a minimal pool.
Right.
The wild card for baseball, I think, is the right thing.
Right, it's not the 9 seed against the 10 seed.
Yes. Like it's that part's a little bit different. I think in college basketball, it will, you said it's a 4. Is it just picking between the two? Between the two numbers?
I think it's either, right, is it 72 or 76, or is it just a formality they're going to 76? It sounds like they're going to expand the thing. I would assume it's all based on revenue.
It's going to happen. They don't need it, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, I'm not using this year's San Diego State team as the prime example, and I'm going back a ways. You'll remember more than I will because it was before I was even here.
Okay.
But there was a team in the mid-2010s that San Diego State had that lost a game to USD at Petco Park. And basically, as a result of that, didn't get in the tournament. They went 16-2 in the Mountain West, made the Mountain West championship game, and I believe lost to Fresno State by a point or two. They were like, I'm making it up, 20-2 in their last 22 games. They were the first team out. And I'm like, that's too thin of a margin for me for a team. Okay, they lost a game outside at Petco Park in November, and now they go 20-2 in their last 22 games. No, sorry, there's no room for them. So I just think it's a team like that.
But I think that's fair because if you go back that far and and at that point they didn't have the bubble 4 or whatever it's called. So I don't think they did, and they probably make that, and then they see if they make the tournament.
Right.
You're always going to have teams that you can make a case for. Hey, I think they should have got in. My issue is more, if I use this season as an example, we all understood that they had to win the Mountain West Conference Championship in order to get in, and we thought it was fair.
Mm-hmm.
Them losing to Utah State in the championship game, I did think it was fair that they didn't get in. But there's always going to be a team that can make an argument. How come we didn't get? Okay, so what happens when now there's the next round? You're at 72, and there's 2 teams that are going to make a case. Yeah, but we could have. You're going to keep expanding it. It's my issue with the 65 game threshold in the NBA.
Yeah.
Now you want to lower that to 62?
And that's my issue with Luka's argument.
Down.
And Luka has a legitimate argument. The injury he's dealing with right now is a significant injury. And it's not his fault.
Yeah.
And the fact that he missed a game or 2 earlier this year for the birth of his child and he went to Europe, completely understandable. But I would say this. Are there any load management games in there beyond that? There's still 5 or 6 Laker games. So there's 5 or 6 of the games he's missing. There were 2 for the birth of his child, completely reasonable. So let's say I'm making it up, 7, 8 games, whatever it is. But there's still 7 or 8 other games that he's missing. Did he sit? Was he a healthy scratch at some point this year? I would assume yes.
Probably.
There's no problem with that.
Sure, it happens.
Most
By the way, he was
players.
also suspended for a game because 16 technical fouls.
So is that the difference? Did that game already play out? It's not a suspension for a future game. It already happened.
It already happened.
I don't know. I don't love exceptions. I listen, it's completely reasonable to miss time for the birth of your child. It is completely reasonable, but it's also reasonable for them to have rules. And one of the rules says you have to play 65 games. I mean, 64 is a little cruel, but it's always a to what end conversation.
If there's any exception to the rule, that would be the rule.
The fact that
I had
he
to
went
go to Europe for the birth of my child.
Completely reasonable.
If there's any one, that's the one.
Yeah.
Or, a family member is sick. Something like that.
And he barely missed time for the birth of his child. Barely. Because you go to Europe and back and he missed 2 games.
Missed 2 games.
It's harder to miss fewer than 2 games going to Europe and back for the birth of your child. So it'll be interesting to see where they land on that. On the other side, we give away the 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. We're here until 6 p.m. By the way, programming announcement, because of the national championship game on Monday, no Schaefer and Sliwa on Monday afternoon, per our bosses.
Canceled. We got canceled already.
We are preempted for the national championship game on Monday. We believe we're returning on Tuesday, but you'll want to be here at 3 p.m.
We will find out
to confirm that. We're here until 6. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. Coming up next, this is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. Hey guys, it is Schaefer for the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place, and this April is a great time to get out to Hamul, especially on Monday nights with Monday Night Live. Pedal to the metal, watch your luck bloom every Monday in April. New time, 6, 7, and 8 p.m., 10 winners per drawing. Select a stem from their floral vases, and you can win $500 to $10,000 cash or the keys to a brand new 2026 Mercedes-Benz. Don't miss the pedal power, play, and win. And get to Hamul this Easter Sunday, this weekend. Celebrate Easter in style with a feast to remember. Enjoy Hamul 23's sumptuous brunch from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. or Tony Gwynn's exquisite dinner from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. featuring an array of tantalizing dishes crafted from the finest ingredients. Bring family and friends for an unforgettable celebration of flavors. Reserve your table today. You're going to love the all-new hotel and spa at Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. Open, by the way, right now this weekend for spring break. 877-767-4760. Call right now if you want a free, absolutely free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place in San Diego. Caller 3. You are going. Call right now, though. 877-767-4760. Sesame Place back and turning 4. Guests invited to a birthday bash full of laughter, hugs, and furry fun. That sounds great. Open daily now through April 5th for spring break. Families can enjoy rides, the Sesame Street Party Parade, story time with Big Bird, and more. Tickets at sesameplace.com. We touched on Sesame Place a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I think we did a power rankings.
Right, of the characters.
Yeah, I think we did, 60 characters, if I'm right.
Are there 60 characters in Sesame Street? I have no idea.
I have no idea. By the way, you just said something. You're reading the partnership there, and you mentioned spring break. Do you remember those days?
Like college or like as like a kid?
Both. The fact that you had time off, just like out of nowhere.
I bet in college they give you like 15 weeks. They're like, oh, it's May 5th. The semester's over. We'll see you August 23rd. Like, that's a lot of time. You could travel the world.
That's a lot
from
of time.
May 6th to August 22nd. There's just like, take 15 weeks. Yeah.
Do you remember when MTV used to have those spring breaks?
Of course.
What was going on in that era?
Was that pre-social media? Like, how was that pre-internet? Like, how were they
probably
allowing
was.
that? We're like, hey, we're Panama City.
Going on?
Panama City. Just let's have
foam
fun.
There was foam everywhere.
Everywhere there was
foam
foam.
party.
We're in Cancun.
Did you, before we went back on, you had mentioned to me you were at a foam party in Vegas. How long ago was that?
No, I was just at a foam party. No, I kid you not. I was just at a foam party March 8th for my son's 7th birthday. He wanted foam. We literally found a company out of LA. Okay. They probably do like bachelor parties.
Yep.
And they're doing my son's 7-year-old party outside in our park.
Did you ask them anything about a salary cap?
No, we didn't talk.
I would have went directly to salary cap.
Dude, it was pretty entertaining.
That's pretty funny.
It was like an 80-degree day. It worked out perfectly.
Foam party for a 7-year-old
that just wants foam.
That's okay.
They were in bathing suits.
But these people were doing foam parties at age 30.
Yeah,
what was happening at spring break on
Serious
MTV?
question. Have you ever been to like a foam party?
No, I have not.
Brent is shaking his head.
Wait,
yes.
maybe I have. I don't think I have. No.
When were you at a foam party, Brent?
It was 3 weeks ago.
Dells.
3 weeks ago, he was at one.
Wisconsin what?
It was at the Wisconsin Dells, where all the water parks are. Like the world's biggest water park is the Wisconsin Dells.
I never heard of that.
But does that count as a foam party? We're talking about like an actual.
No, it was at a
club?
bar.
It was at a bar.
They had a foam machine like out and back.
Yeah.
Because we went there to go gamble because there's nothing but casinos and water parks. So we went up there to gamble and go to the water park. And then at night we went to this bar and they just happened to have a foam party going on outside.
And I think the reason why we're saying this is because John and I and 760 were putting together a foam party
for our listeners.
We're doing a VIP.
Hey, watch the Padres take on the Rockies. Bring your bathing suit.
We're going to be at Pacific Beach for a foam party.
Honestly,
with Sliwa, with Schaefer and Sliwa.
Honestly, the Padres might want to go to a foam party tonight in Boston. It's time to put the first 7 games behind them, turn the page, and hopefully play better moving forward, right?
Oh, they're playing 3 games before we come back on.
Right. So we're not on the air on Monday. We
got to do our predictions here.
We should. Okay. Final Four is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I like the Final Four more than the championship game. The Final Four is no
Final Four is
it's great.
That's
honestly by Monday,
Saturday.
It's the best.
Being in Houston, earlier this week we're talking about Lamont Butler. It was a 3-year anniversary. That Saturday was one of the coolest sporting events I've ever been to.
It's like a carnival.
And it had a lot to do with the fact that you're nervous as hell before your game.
Of course.
But the moment San Diego State won, I'm like, and I get another game on time. I get to just sit here
and just enjoy it.
As a scout drinking beers.
What's interesting is come Monday, all the hoopla of Saturday, you got every Division I head coach and their staff, by and large, they're in the building on Saturday. Come Monday, they're gone. A lot of them, especially this year. And let me explain why. The transfer portal opens Tuesday. Right. So there's no time for let's take in the championship game. Everyone wants to take in the Final Four. To your point, it's an event. Come Monday night, it's no longer an event. It's like a legacy defining moment. I mean, you win the game, one of the 68. wins their last game. To finish in second, listen, it's a great accomplishment. It really is. But obviously the difference is significant between winning on Monday and losing on Monday. So I think everyone in the world is there on Saturday. Come Monday, it's kind of back to business for everyone.
Big time.
2 teams playing, the other 300 teams in the country are getting ready for the portal to open up, including San Diego State. By the way, I would expect a very busy week if you're an Aztec fan next week. I think you'll get finality. You'll know who's in. You'll know who's not in the transfer portal. You may see players that they've added officially in the portal. The portal this year is shortened from 30 days to 15 days. It's only 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
What's the reason behind that?
It's just it was too much.
Okay. So 2 weeks is 2 weeks is the right
enough
amount.
time. If someone told you, Alan, you want the job or not, you have 2 weeks. I need 30 days. Sorry.
Yeah.
Figure you got 2 weeks. I just feel like 2 weeks is enough time.
We'll call you in 6 months.
Right? No. You got 15 days. So in 15 days, you might have a good feel for what the Aztecs roster next year. I don't think here's the thing. In the 15 days you got to go in, you don't have to sign with a team in 15 days. It can play out over 30, 40 days, even longer. But I think we'll have a good feel for the Aztecs roster for next year within the next 15 days.
I'm going to say one more quick thing on the Final Four.
Yeah, do it.
Actually, this is the championship game. You said like it's all business after that championship game. Everybody left, all that. Brother, and you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
As
You
good
were
of a
there.
seat as you can have. When they cut it down to 5 on that Monday.
Do you remember what happened after that?
The 3, right? There was like a dagger
Curling
3.
off a screen, Hawkins.
Yes.
Lottery pick, I want to say.
Yes.
Just a money shot late in the shot clock, right? I mean, I'm making this up. Or it might have been quick. He curls off some screen. The offensive actions UConn was running then, they may still be. It didn't look as good the other day until they came back, but they were running ridiculous
Those were
offense.
NBA plays.
Yeah.
So you say that because they got it down to 5.
Yeah.
And I just remember, the section that we're sitting in, and I'm like,
this is going to happen.
But I don't even know if it's going to happen, but it's got a chance of happening. And that was kind of the thought process.
How'd they cut it to 5? Was it Darian Trammell 3?
I think they had a couple of turnovers and were scoring on the other side. And all of a sudden they were starting to play some defense. And by the way, like that 3 it almost reminds me, I don't know if this is a good comp. You remember that Sweet 16 with Kemba Walker?
Against San Diego State?
Against San Diego State.
Not vividly.
It was early on, right? But Kemba had that's an NBA player,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
So
Ridiculous
Kemba
play.
had moments of like, I'll take over the game.
I got it.
And it was that the 3 he hit was such a backbreaker. And honestly, only kind of NBA type of players are like, I'm comfortable. This is fine. Because all the momentum was going towards San Diego State.
San Diego State was so good defensively that year. They went 10 minutes in the first half of that game without a field goal, and still they were in that game with 5 minutes left, down 5. They went 10 minutes.
That's college basketball for you.
But against UConn.
I know.
And that elite offense. I don't even know how many NBA players were on that team, but Donovan Clingan was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Sonogo was a ridiculous college center. Hawkins was a terrific college player. There were more. I mean, Alex Caravan was on that team. He's still at UConn. He was a freshman on that team. And there are others that have played in the NBA that were on that team.
With all that being said, go Illini.
Go Illini.
Yeah.
Go Illini. I will see you Tuesday,
Yes,
my
sir.
friend, because we've
Sounds
got
good.
the national championship on Monday afternoon. Pregame coverage from Westwood One will begin in the 3:00 hour, I think. All right. For our entire team, Brent Sperry.
Solid week.
Alan
Fun
Sliwa.
week.
I'm John Schaefer. We got a week in the books. Let's do it again.
Thank you, San Diego.
Next Tuesday. This was fun. All right. You've been listening to Schaefer and Sliwa right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.